All right, so thank you so much for coming to the Fix It Bootcamp Masterclass. This particular masterclass is on Unleash Your Hidden Entrepreneur. Now, this class actually was supposed to be about 2 hours. It can last up to three, but guess what? If you have to go, no worries, because you do have the ability to get the replay online right at fixitbootcamp.com. Just go to fixitbootcamp.com and then register after the class is over. You'll actually be able to see a button that will talk about, like it'll actually say current class, and then you'll be able to go ahead and watch the replay there. I'm actually going to, because this is, you know, something that I'm doing for free, I'm actually going to also be putting this without replays onto onto the, how can I put this? It's actually going to go to where they'll be able to see it as well. So bear with me a second. Let me go ahead and do that. I almost forgot to add a title to this room. And this is the one thing that I'm going to tell you guys first, even before we get started. If you have gone to Declare the Morning, Win the Day, one of the things that we were discussing this week and that Vision Coach Kimberly Springer said was go is a complete sentence. Now, just looking at what I'm doing right now, it's not perfect. I realized that I forgot, even though it's a free class, I forgot to start the room on Clubhouse. So now I'm having to go ahead and do that. So I didn't do it on Instagram this time or Facebook, even though it's free. I should have done that. So things are not perfect, right? It's not a perfect thing. And that's okay, because the bottom line is that you want to get the information out. And that's when it's really, really important. So, so you don't have to worry about having everything perfect when you're trying to get what you're trying to do out. You do not. You just need to go ahead and do it. So first off, let me say who I am for those that may not know, while I thank you for being at this class. So this master class is called Unleash the Hidden Entrepreneur. My reason, and my name is Andrea Le Musique, and I'm kind of classified as a polymath, meaning that I happen to be good at a lot of different things at the same time. If you're joining on Clubhouse, feel free to jump on the Zoom if you want to. You don't have to, because truthfully, there's some visuals there, but not a lot. You can just send me a message in the back channel, and I'll make sure that I give you those credentials if you'd prefer to be on Zoom. But the reason why I did this class is because one of the things that I'm happen to be very good at personally is creating businesses. Matter of fact, I actually built an entire company around the fact that I can create businesses really, really quick. The fastest I've ever created a complete campaign is in 2 hours, literally 2 hours. So, and it became a whole full-fledged business. So we're going to learn today how to do that. You're going to learn how to get out of your own way and actually go ahead and make what you want happen today. Because a lot of times we just wait for that perfect moment. I got news for you. There is never going to be a perfect moment. It's just not going to happen. So if you keep waiting for the perfect moment, you're going to always have this idea, this great goal, this great thing that you want to do, and it's never going to come to fruition. And that's not only hurting you, it's not only hurting your purpose that God has on your life, but it's also hurting all the people that are supposed to be affected, right, by what it is that you're presenting to the world. So just a little bit about my background. I've actually been in quite a lot of different fields. I started as a configuration manager for Total Systems. Total Systems is the company and the brain, the machine that turned a very small local state bank called Bank of America from being a California bank to being the international and national conglomerate that it is. At the time when they were doing this conversion from being local to national and international, they had only 3 configuration managers. We were in charge of making sure that all the code and all the new bells and whistles that were going into play integrated into their software and their computers and everything, their access, the client interface, the things behind the scenes, to make sure that the customers that they already had would not be affected while all these new changes took place, and as well as implementing the new things, not only for the old customers, but for the new ones that were coming while we were doing the updates. They had 3 configuration managers to do that. I was one of them. So, and my mother was actually ahead of one of the teams that did the conversions as well. So we were both at the time, and it was kind of cool and, weird at the same time to be working at the same company with your mom. So that was one of the first jobs that I had dealing with computer programming. But it wasn't the first company I had. My first corporation I started when I was 19 years old. Now I got into programming in my 20s, but I was 19 when I made my first corporation, and I had a record store on Broad and Market Street in New Jersey. And I also was a manager of a group that was attempting to get into the music industry while I myself was a singer on Bad Boy. So I went from there getting into customer service. From customer service, it was discovered that I had a voice that let me know that that actually was my passion. It let me, my voice is my gift. It's one of my major gifts that the Lord has given me. So now I use that for public speaking, for preaching, for teaching the word of God, for inspiring others. So you don't always find your niche right away. Like, I come to find out, as much as I'm good at programming, I don't really like it all that much. Go figure. It's part of some of the things that I do, but it's not my passion. So we're going to talk about this. I'm going somewhere with this. If y'all know me, for those that know me, they know I'll tell you a lot of information, and just kind of hold on, because I'm going somewhere with this. So that wasn't my passion, right? My passion wasn't computer programming. I got into loans, right? So I became a broker for mortgages. Had a successful company that way as well. Made a lot of money that way. And I learned a lot about finances and helping people and real estate, but it wasn't my passion. But I developed a lot of knowledge and information from it. Got into wholesale real estate, made tens of thousands of dollars with that, was able to buy homes with no money down whatsoever and still profit. Wasn't my passion, but I was really good at it. So God actually took me through a lot of different areas. The ones that stayed the most was public speaking and doing things in radio and helping others in that fashion. That was where my true passion was. And so now, after all of these different areas that God has taken me and that I've chosen to go down, because let's just be real, sometimes we go down some roads that the Lord did not tell us to go down. Let's be real. Having been on off Broadway and things of that nature, I finally am where I am now. I am the CEO and of a corporation called NPR Virtual Solutions. On one side, we do business marketing, and we also do business consulting services to help develop businesses. On the other side, I actually have a radio station and a TV network that are embedded into an app that I created that allows people that want to do podcasts, that want to do radio, that want to do television. They can show off all the awesome things that they can do. And so I'm giving back to my community in that way. And 40% of the net proceeds of all sponsorships go to the actual content creators, musicians, artists, and businesses that are on the app. It's in development. We're doing some redevelopment for a relaunch right now, but you can still get the app at your store, either, your app store on Android or iPhone. And it's called Les Musique, the same as my last name. So I say all that to say that the first thing that we're going to really concentrate on in this seminar is going to be having a kingdom mindset. Because let's just be real. I just told you guys a lot of information about myself. What are a couple things for those that have the ability that are in the Zoom, or if you want to send me back channel messages on Clubhouse, what are some of the things that you were able to pick up out of some of the things that I told you. And listen, this we're going to keep it real. We're doing some real stuff because my goal is to make sure that you leave this masterclass able to say go, able to actually press a button in your mind, and when you get out of this class immediately go to the next level in doing what it is that you want to do, right? So what's one of the first things about my background that you notice? Now you can look at it as a positive or a negative, but I want to know what's one of the things that you guys notice. Anything. If you want to either say it or you want to chat it. And my phone just died. So that means Clubhouse people ain't gonna have it. Oh Lord. Ah, like I told you, can't go wrong. Will.
This
Oh,
is Andra. I noticed that, but between each one you built on, you just picked whatever you took from one and you kept building on whatever you learned, and you just kept on and you kept until you found out what your passion was.
okay. So we're going okay, so that's one. So we're gonna put in the chat um building building on past experiences, basically, right? Like at the end of the day, we built on past experiences. Okay, that's good. I see that Trudy says my voice. Now, expand on that a little bit for me, Trudy. What do you mean by my voice? Do you mean that my voice was something that I used, I started using most, or in just me physically speaking right now? What do you mean by my voice? I want to know what you mean by that. You can either type it or you can jump on mic, whatever's easier for you. And while she's doing that, let's how about this? I was all over the place. Let's just be real. I jumped into all different kinds of businesses. And one of the couple of things I did mention in there, I actually ran the Atlanta market for one of the fourth largest radio conglomerate in the country. You know, okay. So Trudy says your voice is like a master; it draws people in and they listen to you. So in the process of everything that I just told you, there are a few things I built on past experiences. I discovered that my voice was a very clear tool that I can use. And that was not only something I can use, but it was a gift. It was where my passion was, right? And the other thing is that I tried a lot of different things. Now, society will tell you that trying different things or pursuing different things one after the other or simultaneously is scatterbrain, being a jack of all trades, master of none, all kinds of stuff. It makes you flighty, might have ADD. I done heard it all. But I'm here to tell you that you have the ability to do and be more than one thing and one title. Don't ever let someone tell you that you have to pick and choose what you're good at, because each thing that God gives you as a gift, a talent, or a passion is for a purpose. Now, we also learned in Declare the Morning Win the Day, we were looking at Joshua, we looked at at David, and they had all different types of titles, all different types of things that they did at different moments in their lives. Okay? They had different passions, different things that took priority. We're no different. So one of the first things you want to do when you are trying to decide if this business, this ministry, or whatever it is really going to work, you better make sure you like it. Make sure you love it. Make sure you would want to do it if you weren't going to get paid for it. If you cannot say in your heart of hearts that you would be comfortable in doing whatever it is that you're trying to start without pay, you may want to pray a little harder about, is this the thing you really need to focus on? I'm going to give an example. I have a client that was doing quite a few things. One of the businesses that they wanted to do was for a third party. Okay. So in other words, something that you can sell, like either, what do you call it, perfume, or, one of those companies where you can sell their products and have downlines and all that other kind of stuff. Right. And so the first thing that I asked, And this happens a lot. So the first thing that I asked was, do you really like this? Is this really what you want to do? And they were like, no, not really. But, I think I can make some money from it. I think it would be a good thing to make money. And I said, here's the thing about that. Just because you can make money from it, do you love it? Because if you don't love it, okay, and I'm not knocking third party companies, I'm not knocking anybody that is, an associate of one of the major companies that deals with memberships or having, in-home parties and, for sales and stuff. I'm not knocking that at all. Knock yourself out. If you're in this because that's your passion and that's what you want to do, then fine. What I'm saying right now doesn't apply to you because that is your passion, okay? But if it's not your passion, okay, if you're not really trying to become the ultimate diamond, or whatever it is that the classification is when you do really, really well, you have to ask yourself, why am I doing this? Even though I'll make some money, I'm making money for somebody else, number one. And number two, we all tend to use our families, our friends, and our immediate reach as the first people that we go to when we're trying to sell something or get people involved. So if you're going to do that, I got news for you. You got one shot, maybe two, to go to your close circle, your semi close circle, and your social media circle, telling them that you have something going on, right? And if you are going to present something more than once, there needs to be a time frame between, the things that you're telling them. So you want to utilize this first and very valuable marketable research that you have with these people the right way. Now we're going to get into that more when we get into practical brand strategies, but I want to throw that out there right now because right now what we're talking about is your mindset. And the first thing you have to ask yourself is this a passion? Is this something that I would do if I was not going to get paid? Right? And is this something that I am willing to sacrifice for? That's the next one. Sacrifice. Because let's be real, when you're trying to do something new, when you're trying to actually start something, there's going to be sacrifices that are going to be made, right? There are going to be sacrifices that are going to be made because you might have to sacrifice your time. You're going to have to sacrifice your time. Let's just be real. You're definitely going to have to do that. You're going to sacrifice your time. And if you already have a very busy schedule, then that means that it might not necessarily be the easiest thing for you, right? To sacrifice your time like that. And that's okay. That's okay. You're going to figure a way to get it done. And this is one of the things that you have to decide that you're going to do. So in having a kingdom mindset about that sacrifice, you can't look at it as something that's a negative. One of the first things that I had to do, like for example, right now I'm growing my businesses, plural. And that's I'm not going to say a hard task, but it's definitely a challenge, right? It's definitely a challenge. And so in sacrificing my time, I had to first figure out what it was going to affect by including this new thing into my world. What is it going to affect? So if there are, things I want to do for my church, is it going to affect that? Is it going to affect me cooking dinner for my family? Is it going to affect, what I do when I get off of work? Okay. Because even though I have my own business and everything else, I still work. You know what I'm saying? I work for myself, true enough, but I'm actually one of my own employees for a particular campaign and customer service because it earns money, right? It's something I need to do for the goals that I'm trying to accomplish right now. So what's going to happen? Is it going to affect my downtime? The things that I like to do to just woosah after having a busy day. So you first have to look at your schedule and when dealing with your mindset to see where you're going to have to sacrifice because you got to really be real about it. Okay. And one of the things that I hope that comes across in this masterclass is keeping it real. Because I think a lot of times people don't do that. They'll tell you all the fluff, but we know we need to get into the nitty gritty about it. Now, I am completely, just so you know, sidebar, taking advantage of the fact that this is a free course today, because you guys are going to hear some squeals behind me, because my great Pyrenees, who is a very large dog, had 9 puppies. And there's this one puppy in particular named Mouse. And Mouse right now is actually nursing and squealing and talking all at the same time. So if you hear something that sounds like a baby that isn't quite human, that's exactly what's going on in the background. So hopefully my microphone it's going to actually kind of, keep a lot of that away from y'all's ears. So I hope y'all forgive me if you hear a couple of squeals, because I don't know what's going on with that particular baby, and she has 9 of them. So anywho, so when you're thinking about these sacrifices, the first thing you want to do is write them down. Now remember, this course is to give you the actual steps, right? To make sure that when you get out of this course, you will act, you will do what you need to do. Now, if you're already in business and you're already doing what you want to do, that's okay. Listen to what I'm saying from the standpoint of incorporating some of the things that you may not be incorporating that are causing hindrances to it going to another level. Okay. So this isn't just for people that haven't started. This is for people that are starting and just haven't seen the results that they want. Because it's not easy. It's not easy. It can be sweatless. It can be sweatless. You don't have to be stressed out when you're doing what you want to do. But there are some actual practical natural things that have to be incorporated in addition to prayer. Okay? There has to be action. So I want to stress that for anybody that's listening to the replay, that's listening to Clubhouse. My phone done turned back on, Lord Jesus. So that way I can go ahead and make sure that they get this information too. Unbelievable. I know they must be like, this woman, she done started this Clubhouse room 3 different times. My apologies. They be all right. That's what the replays are for. All right. So in the mind frame, first, passion. Second, is it something that you would do for free? Now, that doesn't necessarily have to be a killer. Like, in other words, that doesn't have to be a killer if you say to yourself, well, you know what? It's a passion of mine, but I don't really think I would put a lot of time and effort into this if I only did it for free and I wasn't getting paid. I'm not saying that that means that you have to automatically kill the dream and not do it. But you definitely need to take note of the fact that while you call it a passion, you really wouldn't be willing to sow a seed and bless the people with it for free. You feel what I'm saying? So I want to make sure that you understand that. All right. So just consider that. And then the third part is the sacrifice. What will you have to sacrifice in order to incorporate this new thing into your lives? Okay. So I want you to think about that as well. Now that you've figured out about the sacrifices that you would have in different places, it could be a sacrifice of time, right? Of certain things that you like to do, right? That like a volunteering thing, hanging out with your kids. I'm not saying you're going to cut all this out, but it will affect it, right? It could be that your downtime is going to change. You like to go off and do certain things, on your own, or watch Netflix for an hour or two just to woo-saw. You might have to sacrifice some of that. Maybe not all, but some of it. Time. Because you're going to have to allot time in your schedule to it. And we're going to talk about places where you can find extra time without disrupting your life. We're going to talk about that in a second. You also need to have an idea in your mind of how much money you are willing to put into yourself. Okay. Now, and we're going to talk about that too. How, if you're dealing with a tight budget where you can cut corners so that way you can have money to put towards your dream. Okay. But you're going to have to think about this and write them down. Even if you don't think you have a solution, write it down. Now that you've written all that down, you've thought about the passion, you've thought about, is this something I would give away and still love it? You've thought about the sacrifice of time and money. The next part is execution in terms of setting this up and getting everybody around you ready for the changes you're getting ready to do in your life. Because in this kingdom mindset, you are putting your purpose first. You are putting your purpose first. Now, it doesn't mean that I'm putting my purpose and my goals over my husband and my children. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that for a season, it has to become a major priority. And the people in your life, such as your spouse, husband, wife, right? If men are listening, these people that are supposed to help you and be down for you, your best friend, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your family, your children, your parents, whatever, the people that are in your inner circle, they should also, for a season, understand and be supportive of this. And if they are not necessarily as supportive as you want, you can't let it discourage you. Now, here's part of the reason why sometimes our inner circle seems to be, because remember, in dealing with a kingdom mindset, that means that you understand that your thoughts, right, create feelings. So when we say, oh, my people are not being supported, that's a thought. And that creates all kinds of feeling some type of way, right? Being upset, resentful, looking at them cross-eyed, or being sad and hurt and putting it aside because you feel like you got to do what they need you to do because you know what they're asking is important. And so you put your stuff aside. And this is why a lot of us, okay, put our dreams aside because we have all these priorities and these things that we have to do, these responsibilities. But here's the thing. If we take no thought that they're not being supported, sometimes the reason why it appears they're not being supportive is because we didn't really tell them what we need in order to be supported. So by putting it down on paper, what your sacrifices are going to be for you, time and money. You now can tell your inner circle, whether it's a spouse, the children, both, your parents, your friends, your roommates, whatever your situation is, by understanding what your sacrifices are, which could mean time with them and things for them. You now can tell them the changes that are going to start happening that will affect them and give them a solution for it, or have a conversation now to figure out what the solution is, so that a way the sacrifice you're making that affects them maybe affects them a little less. So if it's a situation where you always cook dinner, you might have to tell your family, hey, listen, Monday through Thursday, I'm not going to be able to cook dinner like that. Y'all going to have to be on your own. Or we're going to have to cook as a family on Saturday or Sunday and make stuff that'll last a couple of days, right? And I'm going to freeze one meal and I'm going to put another meal on, and that'll last 2 days. Because for a while, this is going to have to be the way it is, or you can make the food yourself, whatever. Now, if you have small children, obviously, you're going to have to have this conversation with yourself if you're a single parent, right? But at the end of the day, you have to figure out a solution so the things that are already in play can continue to move and function at the same time that you're now incorporating these new things into your life that have to be part of it daily and consistently, so you can have the fruition of your dreams and your goals, whether it's a book, a business, a ministry, a project, a masterclass. It doesn't matter what it is. At the end of the day, that's step one. So that's the first part, is making sure that you have a mindset and an understanding of what it is that you are going to have to do in order to make this thing work. And if you haven't thought about the time and the money, that's one reason why it never started, right? because you have to be real. Now, whether you have $20 to put aside or and 10 minutes of time, or you found hours and hundreds, it doesn't matter. It's something, okay? And slow and steady will win the race. It will. And I'm telling you, if you start with whatever you have, even if it's just $1, you can still get something done. And we're going to talk about that too. Okay. So that's the first part about kingdom mindset. The second part about kingdom mindset is understanding that you are enough right where you're at. You do not have to have the perfect education. Okay. You don't. I guarantee you that while Moses himself probably had a lot of education because he was raised as a prince and a son of the Pharisee, of the king. So they educated that boy. He had a lot of education. But then you have other circumstances like Joshua, that while he was educated for a season with his father and loved on, there was another portion where he was a slave. And I got news for you, all the education in the world doesn't necessarily happen when you're in jail. There's another situation that you can think about, okay? And that is Jesus. We don't really hear too much about Jesus going to school, but we do hear about him schooling grown-ups when he was 12 years old because he listened to the Holy Spirit and had a direct connection with his father. So sometimes worldly education is not going to be the end all be all or a hindrance to your future if you don't have it, because the Holy Spirit can tell you anything and everything you need to know, because the same Holy Spirit that's talking to a scholar that has 15 million degrees and he can use his worldly knowledge and information to formulate a plan. I got news for you. The Holy Spirit can download that same plan to you so you can go forth, right? So do not say that education is a hindrance. It is not. Moses stuttered, but his brother could speak very well and was a great orator, so he spoke for him. There are people out there that can do what you can't do. And some of them, one of them, whoever God sends you, and sometimes you got to look for him. And that's okay, because in order for God to reveal more, we've got to do more. You could put out an ad on Facebook or someplace else and just say, hey, listen, I'm looking for some volunteers, some people that will see this goal, and you put out whatever the goal is, as being something that the world needs. I'm looking for a team. I promise you, there's some person that it's going to touch them in their spirit, or they're retired, and they've got the time, or they're a stay-at-home wife or husband, and they can give you time because they believe and see the vision too. They will help you do what you need to do. So education is not a hindrance. There's also an organization called SCORE, SCORE, with periods in between each one. This is an organization of retired executives. You'll have to do a Google search on that. But literally, what they do is they help people get to the next level in different areas. And they are retired executives that want to give their time and expertise away. Look it up. Those are people also that can give you some insight and wisdom. There are things out there. So education should not be a hindrance. Okay? There is no such thing as a hindrance. You are enough right where you are. Period. Now, in terms of not having enough money, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. You got enough money. You do. Because you don't need money. You don't need money to make money. I'm sorry. You just don't. You don't. Now, it may not all, you might not necessarily see millions the first time out, but you'll make something. And then when you make something, you take that money, you put it back into your business, okay? And you keep it moving. Slow and steady, wins the race. Now, you don't have to necessarily have it be slow and steady. You can do some of these things, and some of you will actually go out there and make massive six figures the first time out the gate. I've seen it happen. I've done it. Sometimes it won't. Sometimes you might do something and have nobody show up. And that's all right. You keep going. Because I'm telling you, if you keep applying the same attitude and the same principles and the same tools, you will see success. It will happen. Excuse me. So when it comes to your mind frame, you got to know that you're enough right where you are. Somebody may have told you that, why are you doing this? You know, girl, bro, what you doing? Why are you trying to do? Don't we have enough of those in the world? The music industry is just, come on now. You know, all these talented people out here, most of them don't make it. You might as well not even do that. I mean, I'm not saying you're not good, but you know what you think you are, Beyonce? Huh? Why are you doing that? Oh, you writing a book? Who's gonna read that book? These are all the kind of things that you'll hear other people say. Who cares? It doesn't matter what they're saying. What thought are you taking about yourself? It doesn't matter how many people are out there with talent. It doesn't matter how many people there are that have more talent or than you, more exposure, more money. None of that matters because there are people out there that the only person they will resonate with is you, which is why God gave you the talent and the ability that he does. We have, what Um, is it 9? I think I wanted, let me see what the world population is. I want to say it's 9.7 billion, but I'm not sure. Let's just look that up real quick. World population. Because I don't remember. I don't want to, and I like accuracy. Okay, 7.9 billion people. Okay, 7.9 billion. So if there are even millions of people that are out there that are doing the same thing as you, let's just for kicks and giggles, let's say there are 400, and you know what, let's say there are 450 million people, right, that can do exactly the same thing as you. So we got 7,900,000,000, right? We're going to divide that by 450 million people. Let's see what that number is. Oh, wow. That's 17 million people apiece. What's my point? My point is that even if 449 million people do exactly the same thing as you, that means that each of you can still have an exposure reach of 17.5 million people each. So if you only got $1, every single one of the 450 million people could be millionaires. Now, that's just a thought. That's just a figure. That's just one possibility. But hey, if you're going to sit there and take a thought that my work doesn't matter, why not sit there and take a thought that my work matters so much that if 449 million people would do, well, actually, let me get that right, 449,999,999 people were doing the same thing as me, I could still be a millionaire 17 times over. That's a thought. And that thought serves you. So put all these other thoughts about you're not enough away because they're ridiculous. They don't matter. And the truth of the matter is they're just designed by the enemy to just keep you down. So do we have an understanding for kingdom mindset? Number one, we are realistic about our passion and our purpose. And if this thing that we're trying to do is something that we really believe in, something that we really want to do and would do even if nobody paid us, something that we really believe is a calling and something that we're supposed to do. All right. Something that we love. Second, we need to really be realistic about the sacrifices of time and money and what we have to sacrifice in time and money. Third thing is we need to make sure that regardless of how little or how much time or money we have, we're going to work with what we got. Now, every single one of you has a minimum of an hour for sure that you can put towards your business. And that's just for going to the bathroom. Yes, I said it, going to the bathroom. A lot of us are in the bathroom. There's at least one time during the day. Remember, we're going to keep it real today. There's at least one time during the day that whether you a male or female, you have to sit down, okay, on that throne and go to the bathroom. Every single person, 9 times out of 10, is either reading something, looking at their phone, or meditating on something while they're there. This is time at minimum that you can put into the thought process and planning process of your business, your dream, or your goal. I'm not being funny. I'm serious. So there is a minimum of an hour just from bath time alone that you have to put aside. So I don't want to hear, I don't have any time. Make time. There's usually it, I bet there's every single one of us, anybody that's within the sound of my voice and live or replay. I guarantee you that if I ask you, what did you watch on Netflix or Hulu or Prime Video or TV or cable or on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, what'd you watch yesterday? I guarantee you every single one of you is going to have an answer. Every single one of you is going to say that they watched something, right? Now, I'm not saying don't watch it. I'm not saying don't enjoy it because I do. I'm watching a series right now on Netflix. It's really, really good. And I'm really trying to figure out how they're gonna do it. I can't remember the name of it. It's something eight. What's it called? Huh? Archive 8. 81. I'm sorry, Archive 81. Very good series right now. It's a little strange, but at the same time, it's tantalizing my mind and intellect. So I like it. Right. But so I watch that, when I can. So we all watch something. But here's the irony of that. We sit down and take time out of our day to watch someone else's finished creativity. Somebody else's finished creativity, meaning that they did all the things that we're talking about right now, finished it, published it, and put it out there for you. So whenever you are watching anything on social media, anything on an app, any program, any podcast, anything. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm not saying don't enjoy it. I'm not saying don't read it. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying be aware of the fact that you are giving time to somebody else's dreams, goals, and finished vision. So how can you not sacrifice a little bit of that to put it into your own? That's what I'm saying. So you have the time. Now, before we go on to social media presence, okay? Because let's just be real, in today's world, that's it, it's unfortunate because it shouldn't be, but it is a lot. It's a major piece now of how we get business and things done. Period. So we have to deal with it. We've got to acknowledge that. We got to get with the program and the times because I'm sorry, handshakes and face to face is awesome. It's needed. But at the end of the day, when they walk away from you face to face, they're going to be looking for your social media. So we have to deal with it, whether we're good at it or not. But before we go on to that, I want to open this up to any questions that anyone may have either on Clubhouse, by doing it, going in the back channel and, just letting me know if it's a question that you need to ask verbally, just say, I have a question. So I can that way open your mic. If it's, and tell you to open your mic. If you're on, excuse me, on Zoom, same thing, let me know in the chat that you have a question. You can either type it out or just say, I have a question. And then I can tell you to open your mic because I want to make sure we have order. Okay. Bear with me a second. All right. So I'm taking a look. We're seeing if we got any questions on Clubhouse. Okay, so no questions there. All right, no questions in the chat on Zoom. So we're going to keep on moving. All right. So now we're going to talk about social media presence. Once you have decided what it is that you want to do, whether it's a book, it's your art, your book, your ministry, whatever it is. There has to be a social media presence that goes along with it. Now, I'm actually going to use an actual client as an example. If she watching this, she's gonna be like, "Why you use me? Because your stuff looks good. That's why." so, so while I'm pulling up all of her stuff, we're gonna talk about what social media looks like, and I'm gonna tell you how to make your social media presence be flawless. You hear me? Excuse me. By the time we finish this part, you're gonna be flawless. You're gonna be like, oh snapperoonie. Look at me. I look like I'm doing something. Y'all gonna look like you're doing something and you haven't even dropped the first thing that you're doing. Watch what I tell you. All right. So we're gonna pull up all this social media here. Those that are on the Zoom. If you'd like to be on the Zoom so you can see what it is that I'm doing, feel free to go ahead and send me a back channel message. And, we'll go ahead and I'll make sure you have those credentials so you can get on there. All right. For those that are on the Zoom, you see me pulling up some stuff. I'm trying to anyway. Come on, Andrea, what you doing? Nope. Actually, let me do this. Okay. All right. So for social media, you should at minimum have a website, an Instagram, a Twitter, and a Facebook. Now, I'm showing this particular client because this is brand new, and this is good because I want you to see what it looks like when something just gets started. Okay. When you get your social media, there needs to be a conformity to everything that you're doing. Everything. So that means that when people look up your stuff, they should be able to see or have that brand name, whatever it is, it should be the same across the board. Now, to give an example, I am Andrea Le Musique in public. So if I go to andrealemusique.com, right? You see that typed in the chat in the bar there, right? If I go to andrealemusique.com, you're going to be, and I click enter, watch what happens. Andrea Le Musique goes to lemusique.live, boom, goes to where I want them to go. Now, in my case, I have an app. So my main purpose for my website is a splash page to get them to download the app for free because this is what I really want them to focus on. But I also have other things within this website that I can direct people to as I see fit, and I can attach another domain to the different pages. So let me explain. So where AndreaLemusique.com goes to lemusique.live for the download. However, as you see right here, I have lemusique.live/EPK, which will take people to my voiceover examples. They can still download the app. And then it also has my bio, right? A way to reach me and get in touch with me. They can share this stuff and a telephone number that they can have online. I can go and I have other domains that I bought. In my case, I buy from GoDaddy.com. I really probably need to be like some type of affiliate with these people because I'm like sending people there all the time. But you go to GoDaddy.com, right? It's one of the largest and oldest places to get a domain. And you purchase a domain. So for example, I have a domain that is WonderWomanAndrea.com. Let me see. I don't know if I connected it yet. WonderWomanAndrea.com. I don't think I connected it yet. Okay, I didn't. Okay. So I haven't connected WonderWomanAndrea.com. But what I'm going to do is that I can forward the domain on GoDaddy to WonderWomanAndrea.com, and take it straight to this page. So I can advertise, hey, you want to know more about me? Go to wonderwomanandrea.com. Boom. And it'll automatically go here. I can have andrealemusique.com automatically go boom to this specific page as opposed to the splash page. Y'all understand what I'm saying? So these domains that have branding attached do not feel compelled to have to build 15 million websites. You do not have to do that. You can build one and then have your domains go to different pages to go with what you got going on. So for those of y'all that let's say are preachers, public speakers, coaches, you can have a domain that goes just to a specific page. Like for example, Coach Sharon Wilson also is known on Clubhouse as the prophetic writer. So guess what? She has a website called thepropheticwriter.com. And thepropheticwriter.com will immediately go to her page. Now, in the future, we're going to actually have it go directly to the blog. That is where they can get the milestone moments that they love and know from her, right? So the first step is to know your brand and what your name is. So using Coach Sharon as an example, this is a brand. Coach Sharon is a brand. You are a brand. So if you and your product are brands, that means you should have corresponding social media that matches for it. If your Instagram is Good Mama 475, your Facebook, they got to look up your real first and last name, and they might not find you because your name is common. All right. Then you go over to Twitter, you don't even have one of those. Okay. And TikTok, what's that? You got this going on. People are not going to be able to find you. So the first thing you want to do is to make your website. The next thing you want to do is out of that domain that you picked, because remember we picked a domain off of GoDaddy.com. Before you buy it, you want to do a couple of checks to make sure that this username, this address, whatever.com, is something that you can also own on the different areas of social media. So the way you go about doing that, you can do it on your computer. We're going to start with Instagram. So we're going to go to Instagram.com. I think I'm already logged in, so I'm going to have to log out because I need y'all to see that. Okay, so let me log out real quick. All right, so we're going to go to Instagram.com. Do not be logged in, right? On your computer now, not your phone. On your computer. You can do it on your phone too, but it's a lot faster and easier to just do it, on the computer. You click on sign up. Before you type anything in, you type in the domain that you want to buy. So I'm going to pretend that I wanted to get andrealemusique.com from GoDaddy, right? From the place I'm buying a domain. I'm using GoDaddy as an example. There are a lot of other ones. Like I said, I just prefer it. So that's what I'm going to use. Okay. So let's say I hadn't bought Andrea Le Musique yet. I can go to Instagram and just type in Andrea Le Musique, because remember, I want to buy andrealemusique.com. So before I buy that .com, I want to see if I can use this username simultaneously on anything. So I'm checking it out. So on Instagram, okay, I'm seeing an X. It's not available. And just to show you what it looks like if it was available, if it isn't available one, you'll see a check mark. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to check out Facebook. Okay. So when you go to Facebook, type in pages. Because let's be real. Let's not send people to our personal pages where we're showing pictures of us, doing whatever we're doing within our kids and stuff. Can we not do that? We're going to click on pages, right? Because we're going to make ourselves a business page. So when you go to pages on the computer in Facebook, you'll see a button that says create a new page. Now, you can go ahead and create your page. That's awesome. But what we're ultimately looking for, and I'm going to see if I can find a page that I haven't finished. Let's see. I know I gotta have one. Blah, blah, blah. I don't know if I finished. Let's see. Did I finish this one? I'm trying to find a page I haven't finished. I know it's gotta be at least one of them. All right, maybe this one. Okay. I'm trying to find a page I haven't finished yet. Oh, good. I didn't finish this one. All right. So, no, I don't want to leave. Oh, wait, yeah, I do want to leave. Okay. All right. So here I am on a page. So you're going to create your business page. Did you see how I did that? I typed in pages up here, then one and hit enter. And then once I typed pages up there, it took me to a place on the right left-hand side. There was a button that said create a page. And I created one. Now to create one, you do not have to have your pictures and everything perfect. You don't. Just type in a little something, something, right? And then we're gonna, and try and make the title of the page as close to accurate as you can, because you don't want to have to change it too many times. But we just want to get something out there, right? And then once you created the page, this is before you even have a whole bunch of information, you're gonna see a button that says create username. You're gonna click on that. Now, when you click on that, it's going to bring up a screen. So let's say that I was trying to buy that Les Musique page. So when I click that, it's not liking that, right? I clicked away. So what I did was I typed it in, and then I clicked on another part of the screen, and look what it tells me. That is not available. Oh, shucks. So now I can't name the username of my Facebook page, Andrea Les Musique, because Andrea Les Musique already exists. All right. So what have we done so far? We have done Facebook and we have done Instagram. You getting the hang of this? So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to do Twitter. Make sure you're not logged in. And knowing me, I'm probably logged in to something. Yep, I am. So let me go ahead and log out. Let's log out. We're going to go to twitter.com. We're going to click on sign up with phone or whatever. And we're going to look up a name. Now, in this case, I'm going to look up Andrea Les Musique again. And I'm going to hit enter. Oh, wait. Nope. Nope. I'm wrong. Okay. All right. So you will have to on Twitter get far enough that you put some information in there. Okay. But bottom line, once you put the initial information in there, I'm going to go ahead and do that. I already have these phone numbers. Actually, this might not work. I can't. Okay. So I can't fake it on here, but you get the point, right? You're going to create a sign up. And when you get to a certain screen, it's going to ask you to create a username. And you're going to look and check and see if that username is available. This is called doing due diligence. And you can do the same thing with TikTok, LinkedIn, whatever it is that you want. But the main one should be Facebook, Instagram, and possibly Twitter or TikTok, depending on what it is that you're doing. Right? So I want to make sure that we're clear on that because that's major important. So you do the due diligence first before you even get all this started. And what we wind up having a lot of times is that we started something and then it's all over the place. And then we're like, oh, Lord, and that's okay. That's okay. Because you can change it. And if you don't know how, and if you're looking at this like, Andre, I'm not going to be able to do all that. That's okay. My company can do it. I can do it. Now I charge for it, but I can do it. I don't charge that much. I get this straight and squared away for you. My company can get this straight and squared away for you, but you can, with just taking a little time, do it yourself if you have time. So now let's say that we were able to get all of them congruent. This is why, now I'm going to show you why you want it congruent. So I'm going to go to facebook.com and we're going to type in Andrea Les Musique. So I'm going to highlight and copy paste that because I'm going to show something. So I'm going to hit enter. Facebook.com/Andrea Les Musique. Boom, takes me to a page. I'm going to go to Instagram. I'm going to put that slash in and Andrea Les Musique. Instagram.com/Andrea Les Musique. Boom, takes me to a page. Now I'm going to go to Twitter. Andrea Le Musique. Boom. Where's it doing? It is taking me to a page for Andrea Le Musique. And I can keep going with this on social medias. Now, why is that so important? Because if somebody Googles Andrea Le Musique, guess what's going to happen? They're going to find nothing but me. Okay? Now, if you have a situation where your username is a little bit long, okay? For example, with Coach Sharon, Sharon's Milestone Moments is a brand. This is one of the brands that is about to be hitting the nation, right? So we have that on everything. But on Sharon's Milestone Moments on Twitter, that's too many letters because you have a maximum of 15. So we found something really cute that is going to work, which is quotes by Sharon, right? Because Twitter is really more about quotes. It's about little blurbs. So it's not about the milestone moments that she does, which are usually at least a paragraph long. It's more about quotes. So we can now take little mini things out of the milestone moment and put it on Twitter. So if you are, let's say, a preacher, you could go ahead and put a quote or a very short blurb about a scripture, just as an example, or something that you said on Twitter. And you can also have a redirect from Twitter to have them go to your blog or your page or what have you to read the full Bible study or whatever it is that you're trying to have them do, right? So this is just to give an example. So there you have it. Okay. Now, let's say that you're an artist. And so your stuff is more visual. Same thing. Twitter, you can show the picture with a small link or something that takes them to your gallery. If you are a singer, put out a blurb of a snippet of the song that they can play right from Twitter. But if they want the whole song, you give them a link that they can go directly to it on iTunes or Spotify or whatever. Or if you have it in multiple places and you want to cover your bases, have a page on your website that allows them to pick where they want to hear the song from. And they'll be able to do it from their mobile phone and then save it from there. If it's a book, have it be a quote. And for the book, to make sure that it's quoted properly, make the quote a picture, perhaps. So now they can share that on their page. Make sure it has your name and your contact information in the quote, right? And at the same time, have a small little quip, little something, and a link that'll take them to your page on your website where they can either learn more about you or a page where they can buy the book. And if your book is in more than one place, have a page specifically that will give them links to all the different places they can get the book from. If you have a business, do a quote that relates to the type of service that you do. You could be giving out advice or instructions, whatever the case is, tips and tricks and different things that can work to make things work well in that field. Like, if you're a plumber and let's say you got a broken PVC pipe and you don't have time to go out and buy a new piece, there's a special kind of product that you can get where you can rub it on there and it can freeze and dry. And because it has a rubber base to it, it'll actually allow the water to not seep out. That's a great trick, for a temporary fix until you can go and change the PVC pipe out that can help your clients until they're able to do a real repair. So you can still get money for the service call, even though they don't have time to do the whole full thing of ordering the pipe and paying for a bigger service call for, taking everything down and then putting the new stuff in, plus the cost of the expense of the new piping. So now what you've done is you've given them a great tip that allows them to still service the client and also set it up because of the appreciation for another service call later when they can afford it to come back and finish the work. Okay. And for the record, y'all, I just came up with that off the top of my head. But That's an idea. So this is, and I just want to show you that no matter whether you're an author, you're an artist, musician, preacher, coach, you have a product, doesn't matter. You can utilize all the social medias, but they have to be congruent. Okay. They've got to be congruent. And this is going to change your algorithm to allow things to come up and be you. Now, I bet the next thing that you're saying is, well, good Lord, when I start, I ain't going to have nobody. You got 10,000 and going. I'm going to have zero when I start. Well, I understand that. And that's where, when we get into strategies, we're going to talk about how to make that zero turn into many, many zeros, right? We've got a lot of people. Okay, so I see Angela is saying that she wants to be on the Zoom on the back channel there. So bear with me a second. I want to make sure that I can give her all that information. 2 seconds, guys. All right. Okay. And Antoinette, I think you were already in here. Yep. Are you? Nope. I thought you were. Okay, there we go. All right. So that is, in regards to social media, some of the first things that you have to do. Now, that's a lot. Okay. That's a lot. We're not done yet, though. That's the start. Is congruency. Congruency across the board in building your social media. So whether you're just starting out or not, that's the first thing you want to do, is make sure that that username is the same across the board. Find some. Sit down and figure it out. And for those of you all that have families and support structures or inner circles that you have to deal with a lot, that, like I said, will be affected by this new commitment that you have to your success in what it is that your dreams and goals are and bringing it to fruition, that in itself is a great way to get them involved, to help them help you figure out a perfect username. Because even if you have someone like me, help you make all of these things, you still need to have an idea of what you want. And so, yeah, I'm very good at coming up with ideas, but your family is too. And nobody knows your mind and your heart better than you. So start at home, right? Save yourself some money too, and figure out what you want the username to be. Like I said, you can do this yourself. So again, take no thought, whether you got $1, 10 cents, or $10,000, don't matter. We can get this thing done, right? So that's the first thing. Now let's say that you got all of your social media together. So even before we worry about numbers, now we have to think about content, right? We want to make sure that we have content. Now, here's something that and there's a whole entire course on social media that you guys can get right at fixitbootcamp.com that will go into great detail about social media and different things about it. Oh, one of the babies is crying because he's away from his mommy. So we got to put him near the mama. I'm so glad y'all are so forgiving about this. But before we go into the things about content, does anyone have any questions thus far about the creation of the social media? Any questions? And you can, just like I said, just type the word question if you want to come on, Mike, or type the question out if you want me to answer it. All right. I'm going to keep going. So for the next part is the content. The easiest way to figure out content is to make sure you understand the audience that you're presenting to, because everyone is different, right? Facebook is much more personal for the most part. I don't know, like the Facebook audience, they really take time to read stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like you can get a lot going. If they look at your post, like they're gonna read it. They're gonna really like pay attention. They're gonna sit down, they're gonna look at that thing. They really will. So that's the first thing. Know that Facebook is a little, you could be more wordy, right? You could put a video, You can put a picture, you can put a link, you can do all of that, and it's very flexible, and you can do a whole lot. And they can share it very, very quickly to their own page to see their own audience. So knowing that, you have a lot of flexibility for creativity on Facebook. And also the sharing of it is very easy. It's literally just bloop, click a button, boom, you're done. Where for Instagram, not so much. You can share it to your story, right? And you can share it in the DMs, but unless you have another app that copies, the post so you can share it to your post, it's not it ain't that easy. You know what I'm saying? It ain't quick. So Facebook is really great about sharing. So things can get out quickly. Boom, 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 boom. So you want to consider that. For Instagram, Instagram has two major structures. Instagram structure is linear, okay? Linear pictures, okay? That's the scroll, right? You've got linear pictures, the scroll. And then on the other side, you also have, um, besides the scroll, you have the stationary blocks, 3 across, and going down. So for example, on my page, right? Each one of these individual things at one point scrolled. Now, I want you to notice something. I do not have a lot of likes on this. And that's okay because these particular posts were not meant for individual likes. This post was meant to create an entire picture, right? So I'm not worried about likes on this because I didn't post this for likes. I posted this for the overall holistic look of the stationary page when they come to me, right? Now, if I want to be more concerned with other stuff, I'll do that. You know what I'm saying? And that'll be a video or whatever else the case may be. But I want you to understand that you've got two things with Instagram. One is going to be the uh, the stationary, and the other part is going to be the overall holistic page itself. Now, I bet the next thing is like, well, girl, how'd you do this? How'd you make this big old picture? And you got stuff at the top over here and blah, blah, yakety schmackety. It's called apps. You got apps for that. And you can just type in grid on either iPhone or Android, and you'll be able to see apps that allow you to do this. Now, the two apps that I use on Instagram in particular, one is literally called Grids, and the other one is called Pick Split. And I like Grids. Now, Grids actually allows you to get really fancy schmancy with it. You know what I'm saying? And it allows you to, make really nice pictures and stuff like that. And, it's cool. I just really like that one. So, and there's one other one too, but off the top of my head, I can't remember what it is. So now notice that on the computer, and remember, Instagram is really not made for the computer look. So that's nothing you want to consider. Facebook, people will actually look at Facebook on their computer. Statistically speaking, Instagram users are not going to ever go to Instagram.com/whatever. They're just not going to do it. Okay. So it's all about that phone. Okay. It's all about that linear scroll and about checking out somebody's holistic page, period. So keep that in mind. It's very visual, very visual. Also, another thing that's very popular on Instagram is reels, right? And reels are small videos that play and people just watch them and scroll. And because they're short, the 30 seconds, a minute or less, people watch them a lot. And this is Instagram's way of competing with TikTok. And they're becoming very, very popular. And once you get over 10,000, they also start to monetize just for people watching them. So with that being said, you'll consider that when you do social media. We already talked about Twitter being quotes for the most part, short quotes and maybe a picture or two, right? TikTok is like reels, short videos, 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, just really short, quick, to the point, and very creative, right? So this is where now you're thinking about content. And notice that that visual component was literally in all of them. So you are going to have to consider visuals. The other part that you're going to consider with your social media presence is going live. Uh-oh. She talked about getting on camera. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Women, you do not have to have all the fake eyelashes and everything else like that and every kind of, filtering on the mankind. Now, listen, I'm gonna tell you straight. I use a filter or two. I do. Yes, I do. But you don't have to. Okay. And one of the things people like is being real and 100. So you don't have to look perfect going on this thing. You just have to be real. Figure out a nice spot in your house where you got a little background. Just talk to people. Talk to somebody. Look at that camera and act like you're talking to one of your best friends. And I tell you right now, if you talk like you're talking to one of your best friends, your voice will change. It does. Like if you notice, my face right now is not on camera. And yet I'm talking to you in such a way that it's more personal because I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you as a friend. I'm talking to you as somebody that cares about you and wants to see you go forward. And because of that, the inflections and the intonation of my voice is different. And it allows you to stay focused and interested in what it is that I'm trying to say. So, this is one of the things I want you to understand that the live is important. Now, I can go on camera. I'm looking a little crazy right now, so I prefer not to, but I can, right? But I don't have to. And I'm deliberately in this particular class not on camera because I'm proving a point. You don't have to be. You can actually put up a picture of something beautiful, one of your products, a cover of your book, right? Picture of your church, a nice selfie that you actually really like. You know what I'm saying? It could be anything. You could put a picture, a scene, a background. One of my biggest reels that has been played the most times is a reel that I created where I was literally, it was just really pretty. It had been snowing and we were driving down the road and it looked really pretty. So I just started filming through the window. I wasn't driving, so I wasn't being reckless. But while Kevin was driving, I just started filming the road. And I filmed the road for about 2 minutes. And then I used that later on as a reel and just put words underneath it. I wasn't even in the picture. So you don't have to be in front of the camera, boom, like just your face to the whole world. You don't feel like doing that. You don't have to. There are alternatives to being in front of the camera using visual images that reflect your product, your service, your goals, something that's eye captivating, and then having words behind it. And of course, you want to tie that picture into what you're saying. So, for example, if you have puppies playing on the screen and you have a service that's about plumbing, you're going to have to figure out how to mention the puppies in the video, right? You know what I'm saying? So, it could be something as simple as, aren't these puppies adorable? Yeah, puppies are cute, but they make a lot of mess. For example, when they chew your pipes. You know what I'm saying? Or they chew this pipe. And then maybe you could put a picture of a broken pipe right there, right? And then say, yep, this not so cute. But the good thing about it is that you've got me, plumbing services, and then go right into your spiel, right? And then post, keep the picture of the puppy up there, right? And you can put the picture of the pipe right in front of the puppies for a split second when you're talking about the broken pipes. And then when you finish the thing, you can put another picture of, your banner or whatever the case is, or how to reach you, or clicking the link in the bio, whatever the case may be. And again, Canva, Canva, is a good tool to use. Also, if you have an iPhone, you got iMovie, which is real super, super easy, to create a video. And without even the words or with the words for that matter. Really easy to use, just plug and plop, and that's it. Another couple of ways that you can do that, and I'm going to show you real quick, is by using tools online. Now, I have a course that deals with podcasting that touches on some of these tools. I'm trying to see if I can remember the main one. I hope I have it saved on this one. I think it's called Kip. Oh, I am terrible about remembering names of stuff. Hold on. Yep. Capwing. Capwing is a studio editor and it's free. Bet you didn't even know that. Totally 100% free. You can go to capwing.com, and this will allow you to make videos, it very easily. And you can get the information from different, from Google Drive and your photos. You can add it here and it'll pop up and allow you to put stuff in your window, all kinds of stuff, and it'll make it right on the spot, right? You can actually take video information off of YouTube, okay? And you can do that by, let's see, this is one I like to use, 320 YT MP3. And this allows me to take a video that's on there. Now make sure you have your thing, because this site, remember, is free, so they're gonna try and get every advertisement known to mankind to come to your screen. So make sure you have pop-ups locked, because it is free. But you go to 320ymtp.com, and it's real cool. Like, so I typed in the link for the YouTube video because I wanted to use this mix on my radio show, right? So then I just basically converted it into an MP3, downloaded that bad boy, uploaded it to the radio. And I can turn around and actually do the same thing with a video too, if I want to, right? I can download it where if this was a video that I wanted to use for the TV show or something like that, I could do that and just download it right then and there. Boom, I got the whole thing, right? If I want audio only in different formats, I can do that. So it's really cool. It actually will allow you to get this stuff really, really quickly. And then from there, I can turn around, put it on Capwing. Whoops. Where did I put Capwing? There it is. Put it on Capwing and add my own voice behind it. And there we go. Another place, you want instrumentals. Let's say your voice is dry. You feel like, I don't like the way I sound. Guess what? You put a nice music bed underneath your voice, you are straight. And all you gotta do is pick an instrumental that you like. So let's say there's um what's that song by Beyonce? Love on Top. Beyonce. I like that song for an instrumental because it's really peppy. It's just peppy. It's a lot of fun, right? So you can go to that and I would do the one without backing vocals. And then you can go ahead and take this, utilize that service I told you. Whoops. Strip it, right? You strip out the vocals. And then when you go over to Capwing, you can put your vocals on top and then add that other vocal track right underneath it. And boom, you got yourself a whole jingle. So you can make commercials, you can do all kinds of stuff. And guess what? Everything I just told you was free. Free. Now it might take you a little time to figure out how to go about doing it, but the point is that you can do it. And if you need help and training or guidance, you can even hire people like me, not just to do it for you, but to teach you how to do it. So that a way you have knowledge. One of the things that NPR Virtual Solutions we love to do is to train people how to do stuff for themselves. Because once you know how to do it for yourself, and people are like, why would you do that, Andre? If they can start a whole business just like yours. I don't care. Did we not just talk about the fact that 449,999,999 people can do the exact same thing as me or better, and it still would not stop me from making at least $17 million if I only charge each individual person $1. I take no thought as to what other people can do, and neither should you. So the reason why our company is successful is because people appreciate being taught. It also gives value to what it is that we do. Because some people are like, I appreciate the fact that you're willing to teach me, but I don't have the time to sit there and do all of this. How much does it cost for you to do it? And so now they know they can go either way. You can get it done by us, or we can teach you how to do it. Or we can, if you have a question or two, but you can figure it out, you can use us for that service too. Or we can just guide you when you get stuck. This is one of the joys of having a team and having people out there that can help you get stuff done. And I'm not the only one. There are other people out there to do the same thing, right? I just know we do it best. In terms of some of this tech stuff, we good. We're very good. So, in regards to that, social media presence. So, what did we learn? We've learned about the consistency, how to do your due diligence before you even get your domain if you're just getting started. If you already have your domain and you're like, well, dang, I already have the domain. What am I going to do? I checked and it's not available on Instagram or Facebook. No problem. Because we talked about how you can take a domain and then have it do what? Redirect to your original domain. So you can still buy a new one that has that new username for that consistent branding and just have a redirect to what you already got. You do not have to reinvent the wheel. I told you, this masterclass, you're going to have everything you need. Everything you need. So we've talked about your mindset, why whether you only have $1, 10 cents, no money, or a family that may or may not be supportive, it doesn't matter. It's time to say go. It's time to say yes. I did a whole sermon called Say Yes. Actually, I'm going to put it online because it's time to stop waiting for the magic moment to get everything done. You can do this right from where you're at right now. You got this, right? So from here, we've talked about mindset. We've talked about making sure that you set things up and understand the sacrifices, writing them down. We talked about coming up with solutions. So that way, if the sacrifice is not being able to cook dinner, for the kids every single night, not being able to pick the kids up from school, whatever it is, you talk with your circle, right? To see how they can help support you during this season, because it's only going to be a season of setup, right? You don't keep setting things up forever. You might have to tweak things here or there, but you're not going to keep setting things up forever. So it's a season when things in your life are going to change just a little bit. So once we understand the mindset and the sacrifices, and we don't take a thought that these sacrifices is something that is a bad thing, it's just a thing. Oh my God. I just noticed that my mindset coach, Kimberly Springer, is on the clubhouse listening to this. Oh my God. It's like having your mom in the room. Ah, I got to shout you out. So, Vision Coach Kim, if you have not gone to Declare the Morning, Win the Day, 7 a.m. Monday through Friday on Clubhouse, you need to go. It is the bomb. It is the reason why I am where I am. Okay. Now, yes, I had a lot going on before I met her, but when I tell you that things went to the next level because of this woman and because of the Enoughness Academy, you don't even understand. So if you have not met Vision Coach Kimberly Springer, Google her, go out to, and I want to say, let me look real quick because I want to make sure I got it right. I want to say it's visioncoachkim.com. Yep. Go to visioncoachkim.com. Get on in there because I'm telling you, when it comes to mindset, the way my mindset got like this is because of her. For real, for real. I had the beginnings of it, but that thing became 100% once I got connected there. So we talked about mindset. You're enough right where you are. You're enough right now. You don't need anything or anybody other than you and the gifts that God gave you, because the Holy Spirit is going to download everything else. So we talked about that. So there's no more concept that you have to wait. We talked about not looking at your support system as being negative or not supporting you, because chances are you didn't tell them how to support you. So once you did that due diligence of figuring out where the sacrifices are going to have to be, now you have the beginning and the foundation for the conversation with the people or person that you need supporting you. So you can either tell them how you need to have support in this area. I need you to pick up the kids on this day and this day. Or I need the kids to be picked up at least 2 times in the week to start. I can do it the other 3 like I've been doing it, but can you do it these 2 days? Or can we find somebody else to do it? Or can they stay in the after school program so I have that extra time? Whatever it is, figure it out. Figure out a solution. Stop saying that the problem is too great that you just have to wait until it disappears. Because even if it disappeared, okay, I'll just wait until they graduate from high school, and then the house will be free. You're going to have other things going on then. And if you saying that and your child is 10 years old, are you serious? You about to wait 8 years before you do what you're supposed to be doing? Stop it. You need to do it right now. You are enough right where you at. I don't care if you don't have any money. I don't care if you think you don't have any money because you don't need money to do this. I just proved that. I literally just showed you guys exactly how to have your social media and your website and everything else all congruent and all that. Oh, and let's talk about where you can make your website. 2 major places, WordPress, Wix.com. I prefer Wix. I don't like WordPress. I can code in it if I have to. If y'all already have WordPress and you need help with maintenance, I got you, but I don't like it. I don't like it. I just don't. But Wix is my preference, my choice of coding because it's easy. You can do, anybody can do it. They have preset what do you call it, like templates. I know WordPress does too, but I'm just saying I like the templates better, whatever. But Wix.com has great templates, so if you don't know how to code and this and that and the other, it doesn't matter. You can actually go out there and pick a template that you like, and that looks good, and then change the pictures out and the words to be you instead of that, and the creativity will flow. I'm one of those people where for real, like every house that I had until I bought this one, when I was renting, even, well, honestly, if I'm gonna be real, even the ones that I bought previously in my lifetime, 9 times out of 10, the houses, like the walls were like really empty. I'm talking like there was not a curtain in sight. I was a blind person. I use blinds instead of, or if it had shutters, automatically, praise the Lord, even better. Why? Because I'm not the best when it comes to making things cute. That's just not my calling. I don't know how to do all that. People like they make all these pretty bouquets of flowers and put them on the table. You go in their bathroom and you be like, oh, I can't. That's not my thing. It's just not. Now Kevin could do that. I can't do that. So Kevin would tell me something. He tried to tell me about a fence the other day. He said, I can make that look better. I was like, for real? He's like, yeah, I can put this wood thing up. And I was like, that don't even sound right. He's like, well, just trust me. I was like, all right, you know what I'm saying? I was like, it don't sound right, but And then he's like, well, I can try metal. I'm like, all right. And I was like thinking to myself, like, it don't matter what he says he's gonna put up there. I can't see it before it happens. You gotta either draw it or take a picture of it. Because other than that, I ain't gonna know. I'm not, because I don't have the ability to do that. I'm terrible when it comes to that right now. Not taking a thought. I choose right now to get better in that area because I got people around me that are like, everybody in my family is an artist in one format or another. So I don't have to worry about that. I concentrate on other areas. Right. So the reason why I'm telling you that is because, when it comes to even websites, there's a certain amount of visibility, right? What looks cute that you have to figure out. And this, when Wix, it helps you do that by giving you some ideas. And guess what? Not taking a thought, I've become very good at making websites look great. Go figure. All right. So again, nothing's missing, nothing's lacking at all. You can do this. And if you can't, you've got people that can help you get it done. So I've already told you how to do it yourself, by yourself. Now, when you go to places like Wix.com and WordPress.com, if you haven't bought your domain already, you do still have the ability to post it online. So for those of you all that for whatever reason do not have the ability at this moment to purchase a domain, right, which could sometimes be as low as 99 cents, it could be as expensive as $24.99, that's okay. If you don't have that right at this time, you will, because in the name of Jesus, you're going to have it, right? In the name of Jesus, you already have it. But if you don't have it at this very second, physically in your hand, where you can click the button right at this very second, I don't want you to think that should stop you. Again, nothing should stop you from saying I can do this from saying yes. And as Coach Kim says, saying go. Whole complete sentence, go. Because it will give you a link regardless. And you can utilize that link anywhere. Click here. Doesn't matter if the link is big or small, you can still click here. And then they have this wonderful thing. I think it's called Bitly or Bitly, bit.ly. Or yeah, you go here to Bitly, and even with your free link, right? Your free website with this big long gibbly goop going on, advertising wix.com slash Andrea Le Musique. Well, no, yeah, wix.com slash Andrea Le Musique, whatever it is, right? You can actually use a company like Bitly, bitly.com, and that will give you the ability to make a short little itty bitty link instead of having the big long one. So until you do have your own domain, it can be at least a little truncated and you can use it a little easier. So if you don't have the domain, or you don't have the website yet, or if your business doesn't necessarily need a website right away and you want to strictly do social media, let's say you're trying to become an influencer, okay, no problem, right? You can make sure that you get all those usernames we talked about for your social media. Now, I do suggest that everybody has a website at least, just like I suggest everybody gets an app. I do. And we'll talk about that later in a second. So Bitly will help you not have to worry about long, huge links should you not at this very second either have a domain or you don't want to wait until you figure out what that domain should be. Okay. Last thing about social media presence, and we're going to talk about, is going to be the apps. So now that you have your congruent social media, you have an understanding of the importance of that. You know how to do the due diligence, I'm sorry, for that. I've given you the free different apps that you can use to create your visual content for both moving content like videos, still content by using capwing.com and other services like that. We talked about grids and other things to make your stationary Instagram page look amazing, right? And how for the stationary things that use more than one box, but can use 3 across to make a banner, or 9 to make a box, or more 12, to make a poster, or sometimes even up to 15, right? To make a nice poster for the people that come to your page to see the visual content that way, as opposed to the individual box way of going about it, which is equally as important for the linear scroll, because Instagram is a scrolling primary mechanism of visual content. And a lot of times we want to make that either moving or have sound. So now that you understand the differences between Facebook, that shares the easiest, Instagram, which is visual, Twitter, that really is for the quotes, right? And the links to go to your blog or your page or to whatever it is, so they can get more of you and of what you're trying to do. Now that we understand all that, and we understand that we can do the website and it's not that hard, but if it is, that's okay. NPR Virtual Solutions can take care of it for you. Other companies out there can take care of it for you. And I wanted to show you something. Look on mine. Look here. For those in the Zoom, you can see I've got a little bit of a mistake in there. This looks like it's separated just a little bit, so it make register, right? But remember, we're looking at this on a computer, Instagram.com/Andrea Le Musique. Really, Instagram is what? For a mobile device. Facebook, out of the 3, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, out of the 4, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Facebook is one of the only ones where people will consistently go to the computer as opposed to their phone or tablet. The rest of them are really supposed to be app specific for a device. Okay, so we understand that the layout is fit best for your mobile phone, just being honest, or for your tablet. So now that we understand all that, we've got some of the mechanisms and the tools. Let's talk about apps. Now, apps are an awesome thing. And there are a lot of companies out there that will allow you to have an app. All right. We've got, I think it's called paper.io. Is that right? I want to say it's called paper.io. Oh, it's not paper.io. That's real close to paper.io. For those of you all that are taking this, I cannot off the top of my head remember. I'm thinking paper.io is a game that I play with my daughter or used to that was pretty popular. Oh my God, it's something.io. Oh, it's gonna bother me. Let me look it up. Okay, so we're gonna say apps.io. I cannot remember the name of this company to save my life. Oh, this is gonna bother me. Oh my God, this is gonna bother me. Um, let's call it building. And what am I doing right now? Same thing y'all can do, right? Google. Oh my God, what is the name of that company? I'm gonna have to look it up. It's something.io, but off the top of my head right now, I can't remember the name. My apologies. Make sure you DM me or send me a message if you're on Clubhouse. DM me. My information is in my Instagram, or you can, DM me on the back channel of Clubhouse. If you're in the Zoom, you can go ahead and, text me a message and I will make sure that I send it out to you later because it is escaping me. But my point is that there are companies that will give you the ability to do an app for a reasonably inexpensive price that will allow you to upgrade as you have more people. I don't like those because they are limiting in what they are capable of doing. Okay. You are dealing with a template and a cookie cutter grid at the end of the day. It might be a nice template, but at the end of the day, it's a grid. So if you decide you want to add more stuff, more links, more this and that and the other, at some point in time, they're going to limit what you're capable of doing. They also will limit how you're able to collect your money. And that is something I don't like because I prefer my apps to use my merchant accounts as opposed to having to go through Apple or Android because everybody taking a piece of the pie. I don't want that. I want my money for me, okay, and for my business. So the way we do app development in our company is we will use, we can use a template depending on what you do. A lot of times templates work. That's why these template companies are making their money because most people don't need a bunch of extraness. They just need some creativity in a basic format. Let's just be real. But one of the things that I love is that it gives you the ability, our apps can use HTML, which means that it can use a format that is easily integratable with websites. Our apps, we can give you the ability to go live without it costing you a lot of money. Our apps, we can give you the ability to add different links at different times from different people if you want to partner with somebody without having to worry about having 15 million different approvals on Apple and iPhone. In other words, the sky is the limit. And it don't cost that much. Literally, it costs about the same thing or less than it does for these ones that they got out there. But either whether you use ours or whether you use one of the other ones just by hitting Google, because there's a bunch of them out there, they call them no code apps, right? You can do that. And by doing that, you now have the ability to capture an audience and bring it to you and only you. And one of the best things about apps, I don't know about some of the other no code ones, but I know for ours, you have notifications, which means that you can notify your users and you can separate it by groups where you can notify everybody or only notify certain users. So that way you're not bugging everybody all the time. You only like sending a notification to the people that really need it. So for example, let's say you have a class and a certain number of people have signed up for the class, you can send it to just those people, and the other app users maybe will get a different one about possibly joining the class because for a fact they haven't signed up yet. You can do different things. So notifications is amazing. So having an app allows you to captivate that audience, because one of the things about social media that is so important is not just the fact that you have a presence. You also want there to be calls to action. You want them to do something. I'm giving you this, and for this, I would like you to do this. It is an exchange. A lot of times we waste our social media because there is no exchange. And that's okay because you're giving and giving and giving and giving. But if you don't at least say, click the link in the bio, somewhere, some of the time, you are cutting out opportunities for them to connect with you deeper. Okay. So that is our social media presence area. I'm looking at the time. We right on schedule to go into branding strategies. But let me take a look at the back, well, actually the chat on Zoom for messages. Let's see. Oh, okay. So one of the questions is that they already have a Wix website. They want people to buy their songs because they do songwriting. Does this work? Absolutely. Because, using that as an example, and this is the time now, if you have specifics about your business, your dream, your personal thing that you're trying to do, and you want to have me talk about it, where it gives more, it gives you a bit of a bigger picture on how these tools can work just for you, this is the time to ask. Okay, so you can type it in the back channel. If you're on Clubhouse, you can type it into the chat, and you can send it to me privately if you want to, so that way when I'm talking about it, I'll do it generically, they won't know who you are. Okay. So for this one, dealing with a songwriter, does this work? Absolutely. Because a songwriter is what? Only as good as the stuff that's being written, number one, and only as good as your name. Because let's just be real. In the music industry, if the way that they're gonna know that your stuff is good is because they've either read it or they've heard it. And then after a while, it's gonna be what? Your name. So for you as a songwriter, your name is one of your major brands. So for you, social media needs to for real, be all about you and all about your name, because that's how you're going to get paid on the split sheets. That's how your BMI and ASCAP notifications and royalties are going to have to come in. So that name is everything. You feel me? So you want to make sure that the branding is about your name. The content is going to be about the music. And you can do that in a lot of different ways, from having a cover artist be able to sing your stuff, doing spoken word, posting them. Absolutely, this will work. And then as you get really, you start having more social media presence, you might already have social media presence. The next step is to be able, so what's one of your major target markets, right? Market interested in leasing songs. I got news for you. You got so many different areas of people that lease songs. You've got brands that lease songs, companies that want to lease songs, podcasts need intros. That's just on a smaller scale. And on a larger scale, you go to the different companies, right? Sony, this, that, and the other. There are ways to do that. I've been in the industry for years. And if you haven't already done that, go ahead, go to it. Go to their purchase order companies and actually get on the scale. You can do that. It usually takes at least, you to have, one job to get picked up and put into their database, but you can most certainly call them and ask them. Okay. Artists call them all the time, not just the big ones, but the small ones. Be like, who do you have in your database to write gospel music or whatever the case may be? So that's your target market. This will work for you. But again, you have to identify your brand. Your brand is you for writing music, because that's how they're going to find you. The music is the product. The brand is you. So make sure that everything that you're doing focuses around that. And then you can have different things that you can do to bring more people in. People that are producers, you want them to use you. To encourage them. Send me a snippet of your MP3. Send me a loop. Let me write on it and send it back to you so you can see what I'm capable of doing. You can have a form that signs a waiver automatically, and that gives them, a, a privatized lease option if they use it, all kinds of things. Websites can do a lot of creative stuff where you can get them signed, papered up, NC&D, whatever else is needed, and then give them a sample of what you're capable of doing right then and there, right? Also, by having that mechanism, that's going to put you ahead of the game, because now you're giving them the ability to maybe have a song written for presentation for their artist without them having to really struggle who's going to write the song. They got the artist, they got the beat, but the artists don't know how to write. They need you. But they got to go through all this. Well, how am I going to do this? All this other stuff. I got to meet you, sit down. We got to vibe, blah, blah, all this stuff. Well, for some, what is there across the country? Now you have a way of reaching that person across the country by having them simply turn in the MP3. You use Capwing, have your studio singer, if you're not a singer yourself, if you are a singer yourself, and just do a quick rough draft on top of it. They already signed their NC and D. They're already papered up. You maybe even want to have a split sheet in there. Send it right back to them. They really like it. Now you're being flown in in order to help. Or now the song, they're like, yeah, we're going to do this. And now you've already created the demo for the artist to do. That fast, that quick. Simply by having a website and branding yourself. Excellent question. This definitely can work for you. Okay, yes, it was called Grids. Somebody asked what was the app in order to make those bigger pictures on Instagram. Grids. Look up the word Grids and you'll actually get a couple of apps. One is actually called Grids. The other one is called Pick Split. Okay, what is the app you had to look up? Okay, I think I already answered that question. I think. Okay, awesome. All right. Next, we're going to talk about practical brand strategies. Okay. Now, I'm going to start from the beginning for those that do not have any business out there whatsoever and lead up to having things be in fruition and getting people to do a call to action, which is what? Buy, purchase, make it happen, right? And for those of you all that are not doing this where there's a monetary cost attached to it, that's okay. Because either way, the call to action is still utilizing, listening to, reading, learning, right? It's still an ing attached to it that you want them to do. And then where there's an ing, there's an action, right? So do not think that if you're getting ready to you're doing something for a philanthropic reason, there's still an ing attached to it because you want them watching something. You want them listening to something. You want them learning something. You want them to change or be inspired. So you want them to, you know what I'm saying? There's always a verb somewhere in there. So this applies to you as well. So first, step by step, we talked about mindset. We've got that down. We've done our due diligence about social media. So at this point of doing the branding, you know what you want to do. You know what the name is of what you want to do it as. You know what your brand is. You got a little skeleton going on here. You got the basics down. Built your website. Your social media is congruent. You might not have anybody on it yet. Okay, still is at 0. That's all right. But you're ready. You got that part done. Now you haven't even in any way incorporated anything anywhere. That's okay. You got started. Now, first thing I'm going to do is to tell you, because remember, from right where you're at, start now. Go. Say yes and go. Right? We're going to get this done. You do not have to deal with a major incorporation situation right away if you don't want to. You're going to have to do it eventually. But initially, you don't have to. Because from a tax standpoint, the LLCs of the world, the limited liability corporations, the C corporations, the S corporations, all these different incorporated situations you got going on is for one major purpose, and that is to act as its own individual. So a limited liability corporation can either be a sole proprietorship, right? Or it can be a bunch of people. I'm using that as an example. Now, if you want to open a bank account in the name of the business, right, you're probably going to have to incorporate, make it a real business, or go down to your local city area and get a business license. Even if it's a sole proprietorship and you don't want to be a corporation, because you don't have to be, but you're going to have to get a business license. You have to get something so the bank is going to tell you I can do this. And from what I can see, the way it's going now, you have to be incorporated just about. Okay. Unless they do a DBA. And that's okay. If you do a DBA, then they just want a business license and you're good. Okay. Talk to your bank, your local bank, about what their requirements are. So, but when you first get started, here's the thing. If everything you're doing is on the web, technically, you don't have to have a business license because it's not stationary. Nobody's coming to a specific edifice in order to get service. So that is a workaround initially for people that are saying, oh my God, I don't know how to do all the paperwork. You don't have to. As long as you know your social security number and you file taxes, you be all right. Okay. And for those of y'all that have fixed incomes and this, that, and the other, and all this sort of stuff, that's okay. That's when you need an LLC and maybe a silent partner. So that way you don't destroy everything you got going on, right? While you figure out if this is going to be what you want to do. So to start your website and having a merchant account like square.com, which is very easy, right? Or Stripe, something like that, is enough. Because notice we got the setup. Now we're dealing with the money side of it. And this is mainly for the people that deal with money, which is a vast majority of people, right? Even if you're doing something philanthropically, you might want to take donations, so this still can apply. So once you've got that set up and you're ready to go to the next level, there are a couple of things that you're going to need. Now, if you're using your social security number and you're doing it as a sole proprietorship, you're fine for the most part initially until you're ready to really make that DBA, if it's not your name, really official by either incorporating it as an LLC or by going to your local office in order to get a business license. So that way you can go ahead and get a bank account in the name of the business. Okay. Which you don't have to do nowadays, but it's not a bad thing. Because, people don't even write checks anymore for the most part. Everything is, Cash App, direct deposit. So it's becoming not as much of a big deal. You see what I'm saying? But when you start having employees and all that stuff, you might have to do it. So if you're at that point, you're like, well, Andre, I definitely want to do that. Okay, cool. So let's talk about it. You're going to go to irs.gov. irs.gov. Once you go to irs.gov, you're going to type in EIN. Once you type in EIN, you're going to come to a screen where it says apply for an employer identification number online. Despite what you've been told by many people on Google, when you try to research this, you do not have to pay for this. It is 100% free. Believe me when I tell you, the IRS will never make you pay for a number that's going to help them find out how much money you're making. Oh, they will gladly. Oh, you want an ID so we can find you? Sure. Take this number right here. I got you. So it is free, y'all. Now, again, for those that don't want to deal with the whole setup situation, going to all these websites by yourself, no problem. I will happily do it for you. I have a company that does this kind of stuff. We do business setups. We make it real easy. You fill out one form, give us all the information that we need, and we take care of everything for you. And we charge you for our time. We can do that. And it's not even expensive. But again, this entire class is about sowing seed. You can do this yourself for free. So you click on that button that says apply for employer identification number, EIN online. I'm saying this verbally for those that are on Clubhouse. So from there, it's going to give you the step-by-step instructions of what you're going to do. Truthfully, I would say read it. But at the end of the day, the real thing that you're going to focus on is that little button that says apply online now. Once you have clicked that up, okay, well, they're doing something. They're doing some kind of maintenance going on because it's Saturday. I didn't know they did that. Hours of operations are posted here. Get out of town. Oh, okay. So this is all you can only do it is between, and there's something they got, the website won't work except during certain hours of the day. That's interesting. I didn't realize that. Okay, so Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. When you click that blue button and apply now, you can go on and apply. I would suggest doing a limited liability corporation The name says it all. Something goes cuckoo in your business, somebody sues you, whatever the case may be, God forbid, they can't attack your personal assets. So limited liability corporation, LLC, way to go. You're one person, it's going to ask you if you're a sole proprietor. You're going to click that and keep it moving. You can always, as you get not employees, partners and other people involved, you can always add them to your LLC later. But to get it done quick, sole proprietorship, keep it moving. Okay. All right. So now you got a tax ID number, or EIN number, same thing. For those of y'all that thought it was two different things, this is now the social security number of your company, basically, at the end of the day. Next place you're going to go is you're going to go to the state secretary of state, of your state. Let me see, is there a way to say that sentence without saying state so many times? You're going to go to Secretary of State wherever you live. How about that? So you're going to go to SOS dot whatever the two letters are of your state and then .gov. Because I just moved from Georgia, I'm going to use Georgia as an example. So we're going to go to sos.ga.gov. So for example, if you're in New York, it's sos.ny.gov, so forth and so on. Right. Another way, if you can't find it, or if their website for some reason is different, then you would just happen. It isn't going to be different. But, if you don't remember what I just said, just type in Secretary of State and put your state next to it, hit enter, and it's going to give you the .gov site that you're supposed to go to. If the site does not say .gov, be careful. It could be a site that is not really part of your government. So double check. If you have to, call whatever number it is, whatever. Just make sure you're on the actual government site. From the government site, you're going to look somewhere for businesses, right? You're going to go for businesses. Somewhere on there, you're going to see a corporations division. From the corporations division, you're going to come to a page that's going to ask you to do some different things. Chances are one of the buttons is going to say start a business, right? Once you start a business, it is going to give you a step-by-step guide on what it is you should do. For example, in Georgia, it gives you 3 different links. Register a domestic LLC with the Secretary of State, register a domestic corporation, register a domestic limited liability partnership. You're going to want to click the LLC. Once you click the LLC, it's going to give you all of the different steps that you have to do in order to do it. And honestly, a lot of it is just filling out some paperwork. For real, for real. Okay, it's not that hard. Okay. And then you're fine from there. Like I said, in each one of these websites, they have a really easy way of going about getting it done. And you click on it. And once you're used to it, if you're somebody like me that does this a lot, you just save the link and then you can just go there anytime and just boop, make another business. So that's the second part. So we've got our EIN number. When we're ready for that, we know how to go ahead and get it registered and get the paperwork done. Paperwork is very, very easy. It's going to ask you to do an incorporation paperwork, for about your business. And it actually tells you, it gives you the template on what to fill out. Again, if for some reason you get confused, you know me, you're in this course. You can send me a chat message, right? A DM, something, and I can help you with this. And if you're on the website, you already doing it. You're like, Andrea, I need to, can you help me with the template? I got you. Okay. It's seriously not that big. It's just a matter of me sending a link. Okay. So you got that. So now we've got the EIN number down. We've got the paperwork we need. We registered with the state. It's going to cost you somewhere between $100 to $300, depending on your state. Could be a little more, could be a little less. So we got all our paperwork done. We're ready. We can go open a bank account if we want to. You don't have to right away, but if you want to, we're good. We got all that stuff, right? So we've taken care of our mind. We've set up our social media and our website and perhaps our app, if that's what we wanted to do. We got everything. Now we went ahead and we got all the legal paperwork. So we're good for taxes. And then there's more stuff to the taxes, but I'll do a masterclass about that later, or you guys can talk to an accountant or a CPA that will be able to help you out in that area. So now let's talk about some strategies, because we done did all this and you have nobody looking at your stuff. Not one person has seen it yet. So now we got to make some people see it. So we're going to concentrate on 3 areas. Area number 1 is going to be your immediate target market, which is who? Your friends and family. Remember, we talked about it in the beginning. And what did I say about contacting your friends and family? You got one shot to do this. Because I'm telling you now, if you do this, you better do it right the first time. Because I promise you, after that, they don't want to hear it. They might not want to hear it the first time. Okay, so for real, make sure you want to use this first one. You better do it right. Okay, that's why I have all your stuff set up before you talk to your friends and family, because they be the first people to shoot you down or be ready to block your number because they think you asking for money. I'm for real. So make sure you do this right. So for your friends and family, you're not going to want to ask them to buy anything if you are doing this for monetary means, or you have to add a cost factor to it, even if it's something that you're doing out of love, and which of course it should be, right? Because you have to get paid for your time. You may have to have things, there may be cost factors attached to getting whatever it is done. For example, I do a lot of digital marketing. I can grow people's pages very, very quickly. I am at the point now where I'm practically flawless at it. And the best part is that if numbers drop from the new exposure people, I actually can go back out there and make sure you get more people immediately. I really have gotten good at that. So, but guess what? There's a cost factor to that. I mean, why you think these people coming out to check out your page? You think they're doing it because the whole world likes me? No. You know what I'm saying? There's money behind that, right? So I have to charge for it, whether I want to or not. It's not a lot, but I still got to charge something. You feel me? So with that being said, sometimes you have to charge. Sometimes you got to charge. So when you do, you don't want to automatically be like, oh, this is what I'm selling and this is the price. You want it? That's not what you want to do. What you want to do is to make your friends and your family feel special, because they are. These are the people that know you. These are the people that are either going to cheer you on and be like, oh, snap, you doing that? That's what's up. Or they're going to be the people to be like, your biggest haters, right? Or they're going to be the ones that are going to criticize you the most, right? Or they're going to be the ones that compliment you and blow your head up, even if you sound horrible. You know what I'm saying? Or it looks horrible. Either way, they're your people, okay? They're going to have some very intense feeling, emotion, or comment about what you're doing, good or bad or indifferent, right? And guess what? Taking no thought, there's no such thing as a bad comment, because if they're telling you something, it could be used to make your stuff even better before you go out to that target market that doesn't have any type of personal or emotional attachment to you, right? So what you want to do with your friends and family is to pose it as a question, and to pose it in such a way that they understand that they're special. Now, if you're going to do this online or by text or whatever, I suggest, if you can, make phone calls, especially if it's a family member that you ain't talked to in a long time. Take the time and do this, okay? A couple of things are going to happen from you making these initial phone calls. Number one, it's going to help you perfect you being able to speak about your stuff. Because you might be like, I stuttering all over the place the first couple of times. And that's okay. It ain't going to matter because of family, right? So this is a great way to perfect your what? Elevator speech. What you're able to tell somebody quickly to get them to understand what it is you do, what it is, the benefits are, whatever, right? In a very short amount of time. And so you let your family member or your friend or whoever this inner circle is know. Say, listen, I just started doing so and so and such and such. And before I put this out to the rest of the world, because my goal is to have this be nationally and or globally recognized, depending on what it is you're doing. If it's for your area, say that. If it's nationally, say that. So whatever your goal is, whatever your ending place and vision is. So if your vision What, we call and declare the morning, win the day with Vision Coach Kim. We call our already done place, right? If your already done place is global, then say that. If your already done place is national, say that. If your already done place is your city, say that. Whatever it is, whatever that end game is, this is what you're telling this first area of marketing, which is your close family and friends, your inner circle. I have just started doing so and so. My goal is for it to be so and so, right? Global, national, whatever the case is. Before I take it to the masses, I wanted to get your feedback when you have time. If you can, do you think you can look at this? So now the website and the links that you have, now the fact that they don't have a lot of numbers, it don't matter, because you let this person know that they getting a hookup. They getting to see this before everybody else. So whether it's one person on there, because hopefully you followed yourself, you know what I'm saying? Or no, nothing, zero, whatever the situation is, because you took the time to make sure your setup is flawless. When they see it, it's going to be banging. So it doesn't matter what the numbers are, because when they see it, they're going to know from the numbers that they're getting the inside track before you unleashed it to the world. So now they're going to look and be like, oh, that's nice. That's this, that's that. Well, and then they're going to start clicking around this and the other. And you give them a call to action, and you want to give them a date for that call to action, because you want to get a response, a return on you putting this out there. Can you please go through the website and the social media? Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. What do you think I can improve on? If it's good, you know what I'm saying? Give them some what do you want from them? What do you want them to do? Do you want them to just tell you how it looks? Doesn't matter. Just whatever it is. Now, notice I haven't asked them to buy anything. I didn't do that. I just wanted them to check it out. And I want confirmation that they did check it out by getting their feedback. Once I have their feedback, I'm going to thank them for the time. Oh, Aunt so-and-so, thank you so much for that feedback and for taking the time out to look at my social media and my website. I really appreciate that. Let me ask you a question. Do you think that this service or this product, whatever it is that you got going on, whatever you're doing, do you think this can help you or anybody that you know? And then now Aunt so-and-so is going to think about, well, truthfully speaking, I was talking to Cleophas the other day, and he was telling me that he actually was going to look for so-and-so. And so I'm going to make sure I tell it to him. Now, without you even asking for referrals, guess what you just got? You just got referral. And it's personal. And they're going to talk about it, and they're going to drum you up. So now you got referrals coming from the inner circle. And from there, to keep going from there. Great. So now you got that done. So now we're going to take that inner circle. We finished that. And so if you got a bunch of people in your inner circle, doesn't matter. And I'm just like, oh God, I got to do that. Yeah, you got to do that. You got to go ahead and do that. I mean, you don't have to, but that means you're missing out on a lot of referrals, because I got news for you. Good news travels fast. Bad news travels faster. I used to do a course about 10, 15 years ago. And I used to show people the difference between a good referral and a bad referral. Bad referrals, when the person has a bad experience, they will usually tell anywhere between 3 to 7 people. This was, now, like I said, these statistics are about a decade old. It's probably changed by now because of social media. Telling how many people they tell it, because they post it. But back then, word of mouth, it was about 3 to 7 people minimum. A good experience, they usually will tell at least 3 to 4 people. Now, from a good experience, those 4 people maximum that they told will usually tell maybe one other person. Okay, that's it. Just one other person. So you got one person telling 4 people, and each of those 4 people might tell one person, right? Which means that's another 4 more. So that means out of a positive experience from word of mouth, not including social media numbers, you might get 9 people exposed to what it is that happened good about them. If it's a bad experience, that one person is going to tell between 3 to 9 people. Each one of those 9 people on average tells 2 more people. And on average, those 2 people usually tell about 1 more. Oh my God. So now just doing the math real quick, because I don't remember the final number. You got that one person told 9 people, who told 2 people each. That's another 18 people that told another person, right? At least. So that information went 3 people down, three telephone chains down. So a bad experience 10 years ago could touch 46 people just from word of mouth, where a good experience only touched 9. So good experiences are very important because they're like gold. You know what I'm saying? And they stick, but they don't go far, right? So getting a good referral or getting a good comment from that inner circle is very important, because it could produce up to 8 additional people out of the 9 people. They're the first, so 9 includes them. It's going to get up to 8 other people to hear about you. And because of social media now, chances are they're going to click on you. They're going to find you, because auntie might actually be sharing. She might share what she learned, and she probably will share the link or how to get in touch with you. So that inner circle is great. So we done took care of the inner circle. Boom. Our next circle is social media. Let me see how much time I have left. Okay. Our next circle is social media. Now, notice I'm like, social media isn't necessarily an inner circle, because let's just be real. Nowadays, 9 times out of 10, unless you happen to be my older cousin, that's my first cousin once removed. In other words, he's the same age as my mama, because that's her first cousin. And so he's in his 70s. He has nobody on his Facebook except the immediate family. That's it. He got his children, grandchildren, you know, maybe their spouse, their spouses, and his immediate first cousins and their kids. That's it. He ain't dealing with social media like that. And he's on there all the time, but all he wants is the family. He don't want to deal with nobody else. So if you're that person, okay, this don't apply to you. But if you are like the vast majority of us, you got a whole bunch of people on your social media that are connecting with you. Some of them are connecting with you because they know somebody you know. Some of them are connecting with you because you're cute. Let's just be real. Some of them are connecting with you because they like what it says that you do, and they think you're a cool person. They want to check you out, see what you're about. So you got all kinds of people on your social media. Now, again, this is a secondary level. We haven't gotten to strangers quite yet. So for this level, just like the first one, you got about what? 1 time to pull this off, maybe 2. So you want to do what? Do it right the first time. So now dealing with a social media environment, in order to make it personal, right? You want to, again, not say, hey, I got a product and this is what it is. Kapow! Right? The difference is that you will have probably something about this introduction of your business, or if you already have your business, you're going to be posting something about the new you, the bigger brand, or whatever, or I'm going national, or whatever the case, whatever it is that you're saying, you're going to have posted about it. So it'll be out there for them to see. They may have seen it already. What I suggest is to make sure you have a new post that goes out at least a day before you start your personalized marketing with this secondary level of social media people, so you can reference it. So from there, now you want to be able to say, okay, hi. And you can do this as almost a copy paste. You may not be able to do many in one day, because sometimes these systems will stop you from copy pasting something, and you want to take the time out to make each one of them personalized. So that means that even though you may have a preconceived like jargon that you're saying, which could consist of something like, yesterday I posted about my company. I wanted to know if you got a chance to see the post, and if you could tell me what you think. Something short and sweet, to the point. Now, what you want to add before and after that is something about them. So in the before part, you want to say something to the effect of like, hi, so and so. So you want to put the person's personal name. Yesterday, I posted about my business that, or whatever, I posted about so and so. And I wanted to know if one, if you even saw it. And two, if can you go take a look at it if you haven't and tell me what you think. And then the last part should be something about them from their page. So you go out to their page and you look and see what they're doing. Because let's be real, these are social media, quote unquote, friends or followers. Can we show a little interest in what they're doing? You never know. I have done that and I have found some amazing partnerships, some ideas, all kinds of stuff. And I'm not even finished because I got like 10,000 people on just about everything. You know what I'm saying? Like I actually cut down my page. I used to have I had 2 pages that were maxed out at 5,000 each. And I just recently started a third page because I couldn't remember the number to one of my pages. So I got all these thousands of people. So I do this a little bit over time. Okay. And so I legitimately will do. So everything I'm telling you, I do myself, and it makes a difference and it's working. Okay. And it's also strengthening my relationships with people, just to be real with you. So once you do that, you send a message out. First part is personalized greeting. You have whatever it is that you're asking to do, the call to action. And then you're ending it with something that you discovered from their page. Hey, I like that last post that you did, about the cats. It was really funny. Or, hey, I know she just got married. Congratulations. Or, hey, I see you just had a birthday. Or, oh, wow, you know what? That last post you did, that really was inspirational. Something. Acknowledge them. And now you definitely are going to get a response to them because they know you took the time out and you watching their stuff. They appreciate that. If they haven't posted anything in a long time, but like, you know what, you haven't posted anything since last year. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's going on with you? How you doing? And so you make it personal. So now the call to action is getting them to look at what it is and give you a response about it. Now, before we go into dealing with strangers, okay, I want to focus on these other two. So now you got that first interaction that gave you feedback. From that feedback, statistically speaking, 3% are going to actually become clients of some sort or buy your stuff or listen to your music, whatever it is you got going on. How do I know this? Because statistically speaking, if you made straight cold call phone calls, I'm talking you picked up a phone book. If they still create those, I don't think so. Some places might have them, but you know what I'm saying. You take random telephone numbers. You get a list of numbers that are not on the do not call list, and you start calling them up. Now, you know that this exists because we get these phone calls and these spams and people calling from cell phones that we ain't never heard of before all the time. That is a market and happens to us. And the reason why we get those spam calls is because there is a 3% success ratio with blind phone calls. That's why they still do it, because it works. So for every number of hundreds of people that they call, 3 people out of every 100 are going to be a sale, period. So as long as the cost factor for those 100 people being called is less than the purchase price, they're making a profit. That's why you're getting the spam phone calls. Bet you didn't realize that. So I'm telling you that I guarantee you that if you do this, out of every 100 people that you call, 3 or that you contact, right? Because right now we're dealing with the personal inner circle of marketing and then your secondary social media followers, right? You are going to have 3 people, 3 sales out of every 100 people that you contact, period. That's a pretty much a guarantee. And this is if your stuff was jacked and like you weren't even a good product. Okay. So taking no thought, you have no choice but to succeed. Okay. Just want to make sure you're aware of that. So now that they've contacted you back, because now, not everybody's going to contact you back. Again, 3%, right? out of the people that have contacted you back, and truthfully, your statistics are going to be higher for the getting the feedback, because that's all you're asking them for is feedback. The numbers that I gave you, 3%, is sales. Okay. Feedback numbers are far higher than that, 10% at minimum. So now you're getting feedback. Now, when you got the feedback, remember with the inner circle, you asked the question, you said, is this something that you or someone you know you think could benefit from? Now they're going to respond to that. From that, that's where your sales can happen. Because if they say themselves, guess what? Now you want to go ahead and that person's now made it clear, because they didn't have to tell you, they could have said no. So the fact that they're telling you that it is of interest to them means that they are giving you permission to say, okay, tell me, prove to me why I should use you, because I'm going to do it. I've told you now that I'm going to do this. This is in my eyes view. I'm doing this. I'm interested in this. So they're telling you this because they want you now to tell them why they should pick you as being the person that's going to answer that desire, that need, that service, whatever it is. Now you got to close them. And that close, that's a whole nother course. Whole nother course. Matter of fact, I don't know. Like, I'm gonna literally ask this because I would love to know this, because I think honestly, I'm curious. Vision Coach Kim, do you deal with closing? Like dealing with the actual final part? Because we've talked about it in different things in different classes on the Enoughness Academy. But I wanted, oh, you can't even talk right now, Lord Jesus. I'm asking her a question and she didn't even have the ability. If you wanted, just in the back channel, because I wanted to know, does Enoughness Academy, do we deal directly with closing, with that aspect? I don't know if you're still here or not. I wanted, oh, there you are. Hey.
Hello. What's your question again?
My question was, in the Enoughness Academy, or in your one-on-one coachings, do you deal specifically with their verbiage for closing, for a closing of the sale, whatever it is?
And I consultation.
Uh-oh. I didn't hear you. Kind of.
Can you hear me?
Now I can.
Okay. Are you referring to the consultation call?
Either the
sales call.
Yeah, either the consultation call when you're dealing with them as an individual, like for example, like my brand is for Enoughness Academy, is one of the things that they can that you focus on. Because I'm trying to remember, because there are a couple of classes I haven't finished yet. Do you deal with the closing, like once they've gotten to the point they have an interested client? Do you help them with the verbiage that they need to actually have it go all the way to them becoming an actual client that has paid? I believe you do.
No, not in the Enoughness Academy. I do not do that.
Okay. Do you do that, period?
With my coaches,
my
higher paid programs.
Yep.
We do work on their sales. So we work with mainly the belief of sales, the mindset of sales, but we do get into some of the technical parts of the sales conversation. Yes.
Perfect. All right. So you guys have heard that. So if by going out to visioncoachkim.com, she is going to and can help you with the mindset and what you need to do in order to make sure that it ends in an actual sale. Now, we are in the Fix It Boot Camp. It's more technical, right? Because I'm telling you, you want your mind coach, dear Jesus, please go to Vision Coach Kim, for real, for real. I'm not even playing with you. Again, in 1 year, I have developed 2 additional companies to the one that I already had. I closed on a house at $229,000+ that I found out after the fact was worth almost $1 million. Okay, it's being 100. So there is like, there's, when you change your mindset, woo, anything and everything can happen. Oh my God. So definitely Enoughness Academy, declare the morning, win the day. If you ain't on it, you need to get on it. I'm trying to tell you that right now. And for the technical part of the close, I can help you with that. Okay. That is something that it is a technique, it is a skill set, and it's stuff, and and it can be a little unnerving, right? Because it's really hard for us to, well, it was. I'm not going to kid you. Until Kim coached my mind, my biggest problem, it wasn't the words, it was the mind frame behind, saying what I'm worth. I'm not even kidding. It's like that was my biggest problem. It wasn't the verbiage, it was the mindset. I could not get out of my own way to close the deal. You know, I would stutter and stumble all over the place. And do not think that you're alone, because I have a friend of mine, sexually, I partner with him a lot, on different projects. And he is a millionaire times over. And when we're on calls, he will defer to me sometimes to do the close part, or I will have to interject and bring it home because he does not like that part. I don't know what thought he's taking. We're gonna definitely have to talk about that one of these days and be like, what thought are you taking? Because them feelings be coming out when it comes time to the close, for real. So it is something that is a challenge. So focus on your mindset for that. You got the Enoughness Academy. You've got other courses that Vision Coach Kim teaches to help with that. And you also have the Fix It boot camps that will discuss things about how to get that close done and the verbiage that you can say and things like that until your mind catches up to what it's supposed to be. You still have the verbiage. As long as you can open your mouth and say it, you're going to get it done. Okay. So I want to definitely always give homage to Vision Coach Kim, because she's the truthest. I'm trying to tell you now, she's the truthest when it comes to that mindset coaching. Oh my God. So that close, okay, happens, and that conversation comes once they've given you the feedback. Because you haven't, it was an open door. They gave you their comments, they gave you their feedback. So now you can actually ask them, is this something that you can use or need or do, or whatever it is your product or service is, right? Or someone else. So the someone else part, that's the referrals. So it's a twofer question. And from that, it's either going to be a sale or it's going to be a referral. Possible. They might say, no, I don't know anybody. And that's okay. That's all right. Because since you know them a little bit better, especially the inner circle part, the friends and family, now, because you know them, right? Or you have interaction with them, when they say, I don't know anybody that can use what it is whatever it is that you're selling, that you're doing, that you're saying, whatever it is, whatever the product, whatever the dream is, you can, once you get enough people that have said that, you can begin to look at who those people were and try and decipher what was it about them, what commonality did they have that made them not your target audience. So do not look at the no's or the I don't have someone to refer as a negative thing. Don't take that thought, because the negatives, it don't exist. It's just a word. No, I don't need it. I don't want it. I don't like it. That's okay. Why? You know what I'm saying? In some cases, you may be able to ask why. In other cases, you may not have to, because you can look at the lifestyle or the age or whatever is going on, or, whatever the commonality factors are of the people that say no, or they didn't like it, or they don't know anybody that could use this or whatever, whatever. You can utilize that information, so you now not only know who your target market is, but now you know who your target market is not. That's a good thing. You need to know that. Why would I sell a bikini to somebody that lives in Alaska near Antarctica? Why would I do that? Why would I make that a place that I'm going to set up shop for my bikini program and store? Little bikinis too. I'm talking the string kind, just all the meat hanging out. Why am I going to do that? Why am I going to Alaska for that? Am I going to do that? No, I'm not. This is not my target audience. It's just not. They, unless I do some type of really fancy marketing, And I only pick the people in Alaska that specifically go live in warmer climates on vacation. So the only person I can think of, because I love marketing, so I can market just about anywhere. The only people I would go to in Alaska if I had a string bikini store would be to the travel agents that have a market of people that go to warm places. Other than that, I ain't going to Alaska to sell no string bikinis. Okay. So to not knowing who your target market is not my bottom line. Trying to be silly with it is important. So don't be upset about the no's. Don't. Not at all. Not even a little bit. Okay. So we have talked about the inner circle, your friends and family. We talked about the largest circle, your social media followers, right? Who you may or may not know because they are following you for one reason or another, because they know you, because they went to school with you, because you went to the same school, because you know somebody in common, or because they liked what your page said randomly, or because they thought you were cute. Those are the common reasons why we have people on social media. They like your profile pic, right? Whatever the reason is, they are still people that are touchable, that have a pre-reference of who you are. So we talked about those two. Now it's time to talk about marketing to strangers. Oh boy, this becomes an interesting part. Marketing with strangers is a little different. And part of the reason why it's a little different is because they don't know you. They don't know nothing about you. It is random. But remember, taking no thought. What did we talk about? If you made random spam phone calls, out of all them phone calls that you decline, or depending on your cellular service, pop up as potential spam, out of all of those calls, those people still had 3% success ratio. So you should never take a thought that even you calling or talking to or DMing, whatever, someone that you don't know is going to be a bad thing, because out of every 100 people that you contact, you are guaranteed 3 sales, period. It's been that way for years. The question is how? I know y'all like chomping at the bit on this one, because a lot of times we do not really talk about the real nitty gritty of how to find leads. We don't talk about that. So now we're about to get into it. Y'all ready? Y'all ready? Okay. Before we talk about it, I was like, oh, she just said she's going to talk about it. No, I am. But before we talk about it, I want to do a little setup. If you do not have your social media numbers at a certain level, this can become a little bit more challenging. However, if your content is so banging and so captivating at first sight on your website, okay? Because let's be real, even if you don't have an app, which requires a download, which requires a commitment, a call to action for them to even get the app, if you have a website, this is basically almost like a mobile app that they didn't have the download that they can look at immediately. This is why a website is important, especially the mobile conversion of that website. So when you build a website, or you ask someone like me in NPR Virtual Solutions to build a website for you, please make sure that they do a good job on your mobile site, because it is not the same if they don't concentrate on that and do that and have some paying attention about that mobile site. It can look all kinds of kookaloo. I'm trying to tell you. So that mobile site is everything nowadays. So if you don't have the following, that mobile site is going to have to tell an immediate story. It's going to have to be a close within itself, because if they don't see the numbers, then they're going to wonder why you even contacting them. So from here, you have 2 choices. You can either include the newness into your approach, such as you have been selected for a first, preview, or first look, or first whatever, right? Of this product, of this business, of this service, of this whatever, before its launch date on such and such a date, and pick a date. Okay. You can include the fact that the social media due diligence is not going to meet up. It does not reflect the value of what it is that you're giving. Because let's just be 100. If you don't, you do it too. If you get one of those things on Instagram and they start, they say learn here and this, and that, and the other, sometimes you're going to click the learn now button or whatever if it interests you. If you were literally are the exact target market for whatever it is that they're advertising, you might click it to get more information and do a little something. But if it's not, or if it's something that you already know people to do it or whatever, or you ain't never heard of this company before, whatever, 9 times out of 10, you're going to click on the actual page to see what's really going on. And I have done, especially with Instagram, I've done that several times, because when I see them advertising, they're asking me for money, and then I go to their page and they got 200 people, I'll be like, I ain't no way I'm giving you my money. You don't even have a following right now. And sometimes you're a little judgy. Okay. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just being real. Right. So those numbers do make a difference with a lot of people, unless what you're selling and how you're selling it is so on point that it resonates with them that they don't care, because they truly believe that the presentation is indicative of the quality that they're going to get. Because remember, people buy things because they need it, because they want it, or because they're emotionally attached to it. That's it. It's a need or a want, and that want is emotional. Because if it ain't a need, then what is it? It's emotional. I'll prove it to you. If I need a coat because it's cold, that's a need. But which one I pick is going to be based on how it looks. That's emotion. Any one of them will do, right? Now, I might check for lining and this and the other because, I'm in a cold state right now. Lord have mercy. So, I had to go get a coat. Now, I'm from New York originally. So, I don't know, man, like a dummy, I went and sold my shearling. Why did I do that? My big old beautiful coat, that coat cost, I think it was like, I modeled in this. I didn't have to pay for it, praise the Lord, but I did runway modeling back in the day. So this shearling was like $5,000. And one of the things that I got for that gig was an actual coat from the designer. Oh, it was beautiful. And what I do, I moved to the South, and that coat was getting drier and drier, wasn't taking care of leather. And I was like, whatever. Let me go get this to somebody that's going to use it. Now I'm back in a cold state. What was I thinking? But at the end of the day, I had to go buy a coat, right? So when I bought a coat, there were things that I was looking for. I was looking for warmth. I was looking for fit. That's functional. That's part of the need, right? But which one I picked when my son was bringing coats to me was what? How they look. That's emotional. So it's a want or a need. You got to remember it's either going to be because they functionally need something from you to accomplish a goal that they're doing, right? Whether it's a book to inspire them, whatever, it's a need, or it's a want, and that's emotional. So if that caption is not going to pull and completely identify and resonate with them right away for the exact hit on what it is that they need or they want, they're going to probably look at your social media numbers. So you can either incorporate your lack of numbers into it, or you can increase your numbers non-organically. Now, let me tell you about digital marketing. And I'm going to be real. If you want to call this a plug, it is what it is, because I know that we're good at it. And I know a lot of companies are not. Number one, when you're doing digital marketing, in other words, a company that actually legitimately increases your followers, I got news for you. It don't take that long to do it, depending on how many you want. Because the digital marketing, remember, ultimately what digital marketing is that it's going to present your page to an audience that already knows that you're building and growing, number one. So they don't care, how many followers you have. They're looking at it for content, right? And number two, they're already willing to give you a preconceived amount of time to check you out. Now, when you're doing digital marketing, which is, can be and this is non-organic, meaning that these people are following you because somebody told them to follow you. Okay. Not bots. I ain't talking about no bots. I'm talking about real humans. Okay. You are, you have, in some cases, we can make it very targeted to be specifically in the state or in the country that you want, but sometimes we can't. So when you do that, you actually are getting people from different places that are looking at you. And the goal is to keep them with your content. Now, the thing that makes our company different from a lot of other companies is that if people drop off, because let's be real, if you said, well, Andrea, I want 2,000 people to, really check me out. And I want to keep those 2,000 number because that makes me look like, I have more people following me. It shows more, unfortunately, it creates an illusion of value because like I really personally don't think social media shows value at all. I don't, but it is a part of what people look for. Even when you ask for sponsorship now, the first thing they ask you is, what is your social media following? When you want to partner with somebody on certain things, they will ask you, how many people do you have following? Give me your social media links. Even if they don't ask you how many, they ask you for your links because they want to see. So it's a thing. It's a real thing. So if you say you get 2,000 people, I mean, assume that 15, sorry, not 50, 500 people may or may not stay. Because it may just like completely, they checked it out because you asked them to, but they ain't really feeling it. I mean, it's not, ain't got nothing to do with their lives. It just, I don't like it. Okay. So now that 2,000 went to 1,500, most companies will just leave you there. We'll actually go ahead and make sure that we get 500 more people to go out there. So in other words, you never lose your count. And that's huge. Okay. Because there are not a lot of companies that do it. Now, why am I able to do that? Just be quite honest with you, because I used to do it for the industry, music industry. I learned how to do that. Right. That's how a lot of these people have millions. And you be like, who it is? Hey, how they got a million people? I ain't never heard of you, like ever. Well, because there's 7.9 billion people on the planet. Having a million people follow you really ain't that hard if you think about it, if you know how to do it. I'm just saying. So it can happen, So, people use it all the time. So, but the numbers matter, right? They do, unfortunately. So if you incorporate it into your story that they're getting an exclusive first view, doesn't matter as much, could still matter, but at least you've explained it. Or you can get some non-organic digital marketing so that way your account has people actually in process of reviewing. And from those people, of course, if you're doing your social media correctly, because remember, every so often you should have a call to action. Click on the link in my bio. Check out this, click on this, whatever. You should be able to produce sales or clients or whatever it is that you got going on your social media, right? Because that's what they're there for. And of course, we want to start doing exactly what we did with the inner circle and with that social media circle. Because remember, some of that social media, that's the original social media, and the people that know you. Okay. So you want to do that either simultaneously. If you have low numbers, you can do it simultaneously with the new followers because you know who to click on because you recognize but if you already have 10,000 or something like that, do that first before you go adding digital marketing to that, because you've got enough people that you can do digital marketing already. Now you can hire people, you can hire my company, you can go out to Fiverr, a lot of different places, in order to have people help you contact your social media market. So, but you want to definitely do that first before you get into the strangers. Now, where do we find these strangers? One, now that we've got that inorganic following, right? We've got numbers attached to it, or we've explained why we don't have numbers. We are going to specifically look for the people that relate to what it is we're doing. So for example, if you are a coach, start with a coach. What are you coaching? Are you coaching like Vision Coach Kim, their minds? Well, now for mindset coaching, that can be anybody, right? So that's a whole huge open wide market. And there's not much limitation on there. So with that, you can segment it for the different fields, right? that need their minds coach, which is everybody. So you can actually go for moms, you can go for an entire industry, like teachers, you can do authors, you can do whatever, because the mind, everybody's got one. You know what I'm saying? Everybody. But now if it's a little bit more localized, like music, well, now we've got to ask, what's your genre? Is it gospel? Is it inspirational? Is it hard rock? What is it? What you talking about? Are you talking about spliffs and joints and, shooting guns up in the air? You know what I'm saying? Not my cup of tea, but somebody out there doing it. So whatever it is, what you talking about? Because now your target market has to be a little bit more fine-tuned, because you're now searching for people that are your tribe, that resonate with that genre of music, right? Now, that genre of music, where are you going to find them? You have to ask yourself that. Now, you should know anyway, because where do you go? It's your music. Where do you go when you listening to your people? You go to the radio stations. You may go to a place, where they have music playing. Depending on your age, you might be in the club. In your lifestyle, you might be in the club. You can go to a club and listen. Do not take no thoughts. If you're a Christian and you like to dance, because I ain't been to one in a hot minute, but I think they do still have clubs where you can actually talk to people and dance, right? Doesn't that exist still? I don't know. Young folk, let me know. But anyway, you can go to clubs, right? Oh God, I sound old. Or you can go to, um, you know, places where they play music, like restaurants and etc. So where is this music going to resonate? Is your music the type that where the instrumental can be heard at a corporation, at a job, to soothe the employees, so they have, because some companies now are incorporating instrumental music, not just in their elevators, but in different places in their businesses, like the what do you call them, the lounges and etc., to make them be calmer and to have less stress, because it's a high stress place. So you have to ask for your target market, where is this going to resonate? And so you look at what you're selling, you look at who you are, and you think about it. This is a really great way too to have some powwows with colleagues. And this is where you also do not be ashamed to go to colleagues, to go to people that are within your sphere of colleagues, right? Whether you know them or not, and say, hey, listen, I'm a so and so too. I'm a singer too. I'm a songwriter too. I'm a coach as well. I, sell perfume as well. am an author as well. Whatever it is. Where did you go to heighten your visibility and to capture more new followers or new readers or new listeners or new clients or new, buyers, whatever? And from this, you are going to develop the places that you need to focus on. Now, once you know where you're going to focus on, you have to focus on what you're going to say. We go back to that elevator speech that you practiced with your inner circle and with your social media environment. See? I told you I was going somewhere. So now, from you saying it over and over again, you are now able to create a verbiage and almost, and I try to, unless you're hiring people to do this with you, I do not see where you need a script. Some of you may be more comfortable with a script, but you better make sure that you're careful if you write a script, because a script sounds scripted if you're not professionally trained in knowing how to speak in such a way that a script sounds like regular words off the top of your head. So I always suggest bullet points and guidelines to incorporate into the conversation, because your conversation in closing, and like I said, I'm going to go into some detail, do a separate masterclass just for closings, but your closing should always incorporate what the other person needs or wants, because we already talked about those are the only two reasons for a purchase. So once you have that already prepared, You also want to have in that outline what you're going to say when it gets to the time for you to want to have them do something. That call to action. Schedule an appointment. Do a free trial, right? Whatever it is that you're going to do to get them interacting with you to see the value, right? So this is part of branding strategies. The other area of branding strategies, I stayed on that one a long time, but I needed to because that is probably one of the most important ones. Because one of the biggest problems that young businesses have is not knowing how to get over that hurdle of finding people. Now, I have one more that I want to I want to do with y'all, but I need to know from the back channel or from the chat on the Zoom if y'all have time. Because if you don't, I'm not going to do it. So I need to know. And he said, yes, I should keep going or no. Oh, I got some yeses. I got a yes. Got some yeses. Okay. All right. Okay. Got some back channeling going on. All right. Okay. So the last one that we're going to talk about today, since we talked about that, that structuring of what you need to say and so forth and so on. The other branding strategy is yourself. Now, what I mean by that is that whether you're a singer or songwriter, whether you're a coach, a pastor, you're selling a product, right? You yourself, until your product can speak for itself. I actually just said this the other day to a client who's an author. I said, until that book and the characters can speak for themselves, because the characters in your book, just using that as an example, they eventually will speak for themselves. In other words, you know, Twilight, I can say the word Twilight or I can say Harry Potter. You immediately have a thought structure in your mind of what characters I'm talking about or what they look like. They're speaking for themselves. But before that brand got to that point, we had to fall in love with the characters. Before Chanel number 5 became a really popular perfume, enough people had to smell it and like it before they would go out and realize when they heard Chanel, they automatically knew that stuff gonna smell good, right? So until the product, before, Frosted Flakes, people knew that the cereal tasted good and it was great. They fell in love with the face, which was Tony the Tiger when we were kids. So the brand is not necessarily the product, because Tony the Tiger is the brand. Let's just be real. Because inside that box, when you throw the box away, you got just the plastic bag. You cannot tell the difference between that one and the one that's a different brand or off brand. Now I can tell with the taste. I'll tell you that I don't even eat Frosted Flakes anymore, but I use that as an example because I can't remember how old I was. I was grown because I had children, and my kids like Frosted Flakes. I got tired of spending Frosted Flakes money. So I went and bought an off brand, real off brand. I can't remember. That name was even off brand. So instead of being like Frosted Flakes, it was something like Snowy Flakes or something crap. It was major off brand. And so I replaced it. And the kids was like, what this? I said, it's Frosted Flakes, same thing. Oh, okay. So they ate it. And then after they ate it that first time, when I pretty much made them eat it, that box stayed in there forever. And so I was like, man, they tripping. So I went ahead and I had a bowl myself. And when I tell you, I said, oh God, I fed this to my kids. I was so upset. I was like, oh, so we went right back to Frosted Flakes because the product really was better, right? But what made us first really get attracted to it, my point, was the brand of Tony the Tiger. But what kept you with Tony the Tiger as opposed to going to an off-brand Frosted Flakes is the taste and the quality. Same thing with your brand. Same thing with what you're doing. Until your product is at a point like a Chanel number 5, like a Frosted Flakes, like a book such as the Harry Potter series or the Twilight series. At the end of the day, your brand, who's Tony the Tiger with your brand? Who is it? It's you. You are the biggest spokesperson for your brand. So one of the brand strategies, she's going to say it. Yep, I sure did. One of the brand strategies is going to be yourself. Getting in as many places as you can where other people will hear you and see you to talk about your goal, your dream, your business, your book, your service, to talk about you. And even if you feel, well, who am I to do that? Who are you not to do it? God made you specifically out of 9,900,000,000 plus, million people on this earth. He made one you, one, one unique you. Do you not realize how special you are? That out of all the permutations and possibilities of face and body and brain and thoughts and execution of those thoughts and words and intonations of voice and pronunciation and your smell and your size and your height and everything else that you go on, and that beautiful smile or the handsome smile you got going on, out of those gorgeous eyes, out of every hair in your head or lack thereof, out of every possibility that was put into this world, he only made one you. How dare you even think for 1 second that you are not enough to be heard by somebody else? Because there is only one you. So you go out there and brand yourself. Every single person on Clubhouse that's listening to me right now should be DMing every single other person in this room to find out what they're doing, what they're about. Introduce yourself. Say hello. If you're on the Zoom, send a direct message. Talk to each other. What do you do? How can we help each other? I told you it starts now. It starts today. The goal is right now. You don't have an excuse because you got other people in the platform that you are listening to me on that at minimum are resonating enough with starting and growing that they can also be a support to you and to each other. You got people in the room with you right now that might need what you do. So you can start with the people that's to your left, to your right, above, and below you, depending on what you're listening to right here and right now. You cannot tell me that you can't do this. You've learned about the mindset. You've learned about social media. You've learned about how to make sure that your presentation is going to be on point. And for those that came in late, praise God, there's going to be a replay. Now, the replay, I'm going to leave it on Clubhouse, and I'm going to leave it on the website at fixitbootcamp.com for the rest of the day, right? I'm going to leave it on fixitbootcamp.com for a week at the price that it is, which is $7. That ain't nothing. And then after that, I'm going to put it to its regular price. So listen to the replay. Get on Clubhouse. If you're not on Clubhouse and you're in the Zoom and you ain't from Clubhouse, get on Clubhouse. Find me, Andrea Le Musique, and go and listen to that replay. There it is. Go out to the website, go purchase it. Listen to it a few times. I suggest you do that because I done gave y'all a lot of information, a whole lot, right? But don't tell me that you can't do it because you done learned everything you need. I done told you how to go get an EIN number, how to build, how to make your LLC, everything. How to make sure that you got customers right now, how to get everything critiqued before you go out there. And you already know that my company does the services. So there's nothing that if you don't think that you can do it well enough that you can't get. You need some mindset coaching? Guess what? I already told you, go with Kimberly Springer. She got you. Straight up. She will get that mind in check. I promise you. I promise you. You are talking to one of her students. I am a coach now because of her. Now, was I a coach before? Was I a teacher before? Yeah, I was. I ain't gonna lie, I was. I was a good one too. I ain't gonna lie. But I think I'm better. I know I'm better because of her. There's no question of it. Because I look at myself as a coach. I would teach and do master classes. I'd look at myself as an expert in a certain thing, but for some odd reason, that did not translate in coach. That did not translate into full understanding that what I have to give can help and better other people. I didn't look at it that way. So now I do. I didn't realize that I can do master classes on all the different areas that I've been in. I can do them. I can help a person make a business. I can help a person have 1 million followers. I can help a person have a blue check. I can help a person have an app, build a website, do marketing campaigns. I've done marketing campaigns for whole radio stations and TV stations now, $1 million campaigns. Wow. Some of them I did as an employee. Some of them I did for way too little money. And there's another thing I learned about that mindset. Not doing it for the low and the free all the time. For real. So it's a lot that can be out there. And you have the resources and the tools to be able to make sure that your mind and your product and your presentation and the technology behind it is going to go forth and make sure that you have abundance. And remember what the reason for the abundance is. It's not just for you. Yes, one of the beautiful residuals is being financially free. Thank you, Jesus. I don't work for anybody but myself. Hallelujah. I don't work for anybody but me. But me. And my mortgage gets paid. My car notes get paid. There's food in the house. The electricity and the utilities are all on. Praise the Lord. And it wasn't always that way. The deed to the house and to where my office is in my name. It wasn't always like this because I didn't always have the tools that I needed in order to make it so. But I do now. And I'm doing this because I know I can help you do it too. By making sure you have resources, by making sure you can go to the right place to get your mind coached, to get your body coached. We know body coaches, Coach Anna. Oh my God, there's just so many different resources that are out there and you can do it. But the biggest resource that you have that encompasses all of this is that Heavenly Father that you serve. Because the same Holy Ghost that gives all of this information and this knowledge to the coaches and the experts of the world, it is already in the encyclopedic knowledge of the Holy Spirit and can be downloaded to you at any given time, either directly or through the abilities and the voice and the words and the books of somebody else. But you can do it right from where you are. So I hope that this blessed you. I hope that this got you going to let you know that you can do this. And you can do it with no help whatsoever. But praise God for the help and that we have the ability. So if what I have talked about resonates with you and you want to get more masterclasses on the individual aspects of what we talked about, more step-by-steps, more in-depth, we can do that. I love doing master classes because every time I do one, it makes me think about another one to do, to go even a little deeper and a little deeper. So first and foremost, you can get the on-demand on Clubhouse, right? Until the end of the day. You can get the on-demand for the end of the week for $7 at fixitbootcamp.com. You'll actually see that if you're on, excuse me, on Clubhouse, you'll see it in my bio. If you're on the Zoom, you can actually see it literally on your screen. And also I'm going to type it in the chat. And if you want to get, some more boot camps, you want to get some more coaching, you need some help getting this done. It's like, Andre, this sounds all great, but I need some help. I can do that. And I'll do a free consultation for you. Now, you can get that link as well simply by DMing me. I should have had it already ready, but I don't. Like I said, taking no thought. See, this ain't perfect, but at the end of the day, it don't matter. You just do it. So you can DM me. You can send me a message at Andrea Lay Musique, right? Go to Andrea Lay Musique on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Send me a message. I'll get it. And AndreaLayMusique@gmail.com. Even that. Any way you want to reach me. And we'll do that free consultation. For those of you all that have signed up through the Zoom and through the website, I'll be sending you out an email for your consultation. For those of you all that want it that are on this right now, send me a back channel message so I can send you a direct link so you can schedule it. And when you go out to fixitbootcamp.com, if you want, you can check out 360 Degrees of Wealth. Now, 360 Degrees of Wealth is pretty cool. What 360 Degrees of Wealth is that wealth is not just financial. Wealth is in all areas. If you have a family that loves you and friends that love you, that's wealth. If you have a clear mind and a proper mindset that allows you to go forth in positivity and to have results in that, you've got wealth in your mind and in your emotions. If you've got a healthy relationship with people, you've got wealth. So wealth comes in all aspects, mental and emotional, with your family, that's called legacy, in your finances, all over the place, in your businesses, everywhere. Wealth is holistic. That's why we call it 360 degrees of wealth, because your health is even a part of your wealth, because you can't enjoy none of what I talked about if you're not healthy. So if you want to join 360 degrees of wealth, you can do so for a free trial, 30-day free trial. From there, you'll be able to see what it's all about. Bi-weekly group coaching, the ability to get these master classes, whether they're live or on demand, for free, because it's part of your membership. We also give you placement for your podcast if you have it on the Lay Musique app at no cost, because we want our members to shine. That's the whole point. We want y'all to shine. We want to give you an audience. And my app, the Lay Musique app, because Wakanda Radio has hundreds of thousands of listeners, you will be seen and heard. How awesome is that? You also get an exclusive blog that'll be jam-packed full of resources. So a lot of these links and the things that I'm mentioning, they're in that blog, or they will be, right? You also get discounts of 20% on all the services. So for those of y'all that said, well, I need 10,000 people on my social media, you get 20% off on that. And like I said, none of these prices are high. This is affordable. This is doable. We've got payment plans as well for the things that are a bit bigger. You know what I'm saying? So there's no, I don't want to hear it. You can do this. You can do whatever it is that you really want to do. So now that discounted thing after the 30 days of free, it's only $19.77. That is only going to be the monthly charge. And it'll be for the lifetime until you cancel. But you can only get that price until March 15th. After that, it is going remarkably up. So definitely go to fixitbootcamp.com, click on the register button, and go ahead and go out there and make sure that you get a part of this organization that's going to help you go and grow, because that's the whole point. All right. I love you all dearly. I'm going to stop the recording and open it up to any questions or comments that you guys may have. Actually, I'll leave the recording on. I'll do that. Okay, so does anybody have any questions? If you're in the audience on Clubhouse, raise your hand. I will now start, just make it more personalized. If you got questions about your specific business or idea, if it's not already in fruition, this is the time to ask. Listen, this is not, this is in addition to your free consultation. Okay, so if you got messages, if you want to, if you have a question, let me know, put it in the chat, and we can talk about it. If you have a question and you'd rather me not talk about it, on the recording, but you want to talk about it later, go ahead and just let me know you want that consultation and we'll do it privately. All right, so we've got one question here. I'm an author as well. My book is not finished. How can I implement some of these things now while I'm still writing, or should I wait until my book is done? Very, very good question. Because what happens, that's actually a very question. Because what if you're in the middle of what it is that you're doing? Okay. So you can implement a lot of this now, because when that book is finished and published and it drops on things like Amazon or whatever, one of the things that I have learned from, actually, truthfully, Vision Coach Kim and Apostle Tanya and a lot of different people, is that first date when the book drops is very important and very critical. And you can utilize that as a sales tool by making the online version of your book very inexpensive, 99 cents, $1.99, whatever you feel comfortable with, because it will encourage more people to buy the book on that one day and this, 1 hour or whatever, quickly, right? And on that specific time. And that in itself, because of the influx, can algorithmically put you on a bestsellers list very, very quickly. So it is very important that while you are still writing the book, that you start incorporating building up your following, right? And your marketing. And you can do that because you know your book. And what is it that you know the best about the book? You know how it's going to end, right? So that means that you're able to do a synopsis of the book. So whether your book is, and you didn't mention, so I don't know if your book is fiction or whatever it is, but no matter whether your book is fiction, nonfictional, or devotional, whatever it is, you know what your content is. You know what the Holy Spirit is giving you to write or put on paper. So whatever your book is, while you're writing it, you can put a synopsis of that book and utilize that as if it were the finished product. And your concentration can be making sure that you have, like, say, an email list on your website. So you're gathering the intel, the information, the leads of the people that are going to be notified of when that book drops once you're finished. And in between, while you're writing the book, you actually can also get them, because remember, until your book can speak for itself, until people can look at the cover and automatically know, ooh, that's the read. If it's fictional, till the characters can speak for itself, like Harry Potter, right? Who's the first brand? You are. So this is where you can start going on different, television shows and social media shows and online podcasts and things of that nature to talk about this book and about the synopsis and give a projected date. Because those first interviews are going to be about getting people on the email list, so they will be the first to know about when the book drops, right? So the short answer is don't wait. Your go is now. The long answer is what I just said. Very, 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 very good question. Very good question. All right. So I'm seeing some messages that they want the link for the counseling and the free counseling. So I'm definitely going to do that. And so it's a lot. So I want, for me to do that, I'm going to end the recording now. Hold on. Bear with me a second so I can end the recording. All right. So I'm about to end the recording. This has been the Fix It Bootcamp. Unleash your inner entrepreneur. I hope you enjoyed it. And thank you for your time. All right. So now